What up, though? What up, though? To all my people out there, this is your host, Christal XO, and I thought I would start off with a little greeting for my people in Toledo and Detroit, Michigan. What's good to everybody tuning in today? This is Dating Diaries. I, of course, am your host, Christal XO, and you guys know what the next thing I do every week is I bring on my co-host, Scorpio Mo.
You're
Mo and not pajama Mo, but Scorpio Mo
yeah,
today.
that'll be Friday.
Man, how was your day? It's midweek. We always do a check-in. How's your check? How are you doing? How you
Uh,
feeling?
my check is all right.
Okay. All
Let
right.
me stop. Good. This week is moving. I need to hurry up and get out the way, but this week is moving. How's your what third day this week going? So far.
So far, it's crazy because I work this weekend. So when you work on the weekend,
Mm.
it doesn't feel like you had a weekend.
Oh, I know.
So I came back in and it feels a little bit like it I didn't have a weekend, but all is good. We had a really good Friday night. And I'm looking forward to that again on Friday. But today has been good. Actually, you guys, please look out for I did press today with T-Boz. I'm usually with Chili, but today I was with T-Boz and we did the Breakfast Club. So you guys watch out for that this morning. Social media is crazy, man. Like it's just people should not. It's crazy because T-Boz got sick and had to cancel a couple of shows. We've seen that happen with a lot of artists. And the way people responded, it was so bad that she felt like she had to go on, a platform and talk
I,
about
I I just seen it. I seen talk about it.
it. Yeah. So we did a show this morning, and then um we did um we did the Breakfast Club. So that air in the morning, but everything is good. I can't complain. I'm excited about tonight's conversation because you guys, as soon as you come in and get situated, get a chair, get your seat, get your drink, make sure that you go ahead and like this and share it because we're going to have a conversation tonight. We have some guests joining us. And tonight is all going to be about, we talk about this every week. We come and talk about differences, but what are the major differences and how do we make change and how do we start to reverse the narrative of the relationship conversation with Black men and Black women. So we're going to get into all that tonight. So you got time to make sure you tell your friends to tune in. You got time to go ahead and subscribe, resubscribe if you have unsubscribed, man.
Yeah, y'all. What's up?
Okay, Miss Pretty Amazing is starting off from the jump. She said, Christal and Mo, I went on a date with a guy on Saturday and it went well. He's been reaching out on the daily and asking for the next date. That's good. You know what? We should start to do that. We should start to, give some hand claps for good dates. You guys come on and let us know when you had a positive date.
Oh,
Yeah, so people can hear we need to hear something besides dating disasters. But
and I got an update.
oh, you do. Okay, share your update. I can't wait.
Forgot about that. I almost forgot about that. I got an update about the amputee story we told. Was it an episode ago?
It was the episode ago. We did so refresh people's memory in case you didn't hear that episode. Let people know what happened with your friend.
Okay. I have a old coworker who met someone online.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, this man did not read the full description of this.
The pictures.
He just saw the pictures and read half a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
And she hit him as they're conversating and said, "Did you read my profile?" He just said yes. So they decided to link up at a mall for some reason. I keep remembering asking why the mall, but they met up at a mall.
Okay.
So they meet up, and as he's approaching her, they're on the phone. Like, I have on da 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 da.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Goes up to her, and he's behind her.
Mm-hmm.
So he can see her. It's summertime. He can see her left arm, and she's
mm-hmm. Sugar Pie says yes, and she shows the left. Yeah, she's just showing the left arm.
Oh Lord!
Sit down.
amputee. And they talked for a minute. He winds up excusing himself. They're in the food court at this point because he came in through the food court entry. And he got himself together. He was a little.
So wait a minute. He excused himself because he wasn't prepared for that?
They were talking for a minute there.
Okay. Okay.
It just wasn't immediately. He said he was just trying to take it all in and try not to stare down at her arm, at the portion of her arm. Because it's from her elbow up. I mean, elbow down is amputated part. So he got himself together, just took a deep breath and was like, and they went on about that day. Then they went to the date and actually went 2 places, he told me. And then he debated whether, because he was like, yo, could I do something? Long story short, he did. They went out this past weekend.
Okay.
Now they're going out, I think he said, was it Monday or Sunday? Memorial Week, Labor Day weekend.
Nice. Okay, can we give a hand clap for the guy?
A friend of hers, she invited him to a cookout of a friend of hers.
I think we need to give him a hand clap. I think we should give them a hand clap. Yes. Yes. See? Love can always win, or at least like.
It's not love. He just like
can always win. And I said to you, I think when people are really ready for a real relationship, you tend to be more concerned about things that are real than things that are not. And just because a person, all of us go through life. Life is difficult. She's an amputee, but that doesn't mean that she's not an amazing person.
I could probably deal with it. I'll tell you what I'm not dealing with, though.
What are you not dealing with, Mo?
If you're short with a mustache, you can't do it. Can't do mustache.
Well, I think it's safe to say it's things that you can't help.
I'm saying,
if you can't help it, if you have a mustache, well, I have seen some people that have a lot of hair that I don't think they can help.
There's razors.
Yeah, but what if you shave and it comes back stronger and harder with a shadow?
If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do.
Well, you know what? I think tonight, because we have some guests coming on. We have a good panel tonight. It's going to be a lot. It's going to have a great conversation. But I think in preparation of that, I think that we should tell another personal dating disaster, because I feel like maybe people are not calling in or that because maybe they're a little sensitive or not quite up with it. So I think the more we share our dating disasters, then we will probably make it a lot easier for others to share their dating disasters. So I'm going to let you go first.
Well, if y'all notice the theme in all my dating disasters, for the most part, has always involved me being broke.
Well.
But I will tell you this. I thought it was going to be a disaster, but
you got to start from the beginning.
Met a young lady out. Remember the Shout?
Yes.
Met her there. Met a young lady at Shout. She's from New York. We hit it off immediately. I don't even think I had a car. I did not have a car. Okay. She came pick me up to go to the.
She picked you up?
Yeah. Yeah. That's nothing. Yeah. She picked me up.
Okay.
So
this is the first date? I'm sorry, I just need some clarity.
Yeah, first date.
First date. Okay.
Went to the movies up on Camp Creek.
Okay.
Remember what movie? And guess what?
What?
They had a delay with the movie. We're standing in line.
Yes.
I had $40. That's it.
Here we go. Here we go again.
Let me tell you how I stretched $40. We had $40. There was a delay in the movie. We were waiting in line. There's a bunch of people in the lobby, but the movie had supposed to have been started. We were already running late.
Right.
And they just let everybody go in that was waiting in the lobby for that particular movie. It was
So did you wait a minute? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, let's back up. So while you were waiting, did you think to ask her, did she want a beverage?
I did not.
Yeah. So you were
I did
so
stop.
wait a minute. Now you had it $40. That's enough for 2 tickets, correct?
That is. But and then what I normally used to do was stop at the dollar store before I go into the theater. We didn't even do that because we was running late.
Okay.
And we not run late.
You would have had trouble buying. Now, what were you gonna do if you bought the tickets and the two tickets came up to like almost $30? Then what are you gonna do for the snacks? Because I'll be damned if a Negro invites me to a movie and does not offer to buy me some snacks.
Of course you would. But
he's so mean to me. That's so mean.
But I just chanced it. I was going to fake an injury or something.
What kind of injury would keep you from buying snacks?
No, I wasn't really concerned about that part.
Okay.
About the afterwards.
The dinner.
You know how women, let's have drinks. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody dead would have to die again. I would have got an emergency phone call. Something.
I have another question, Mo. Why will you go on a date if you only have $40? I think that's the question that all the women are probably in the chat wanting to know. Why would a gentleman that only has 220s in his pocket be going on a date?
I thought this was so long ago. I don't know. I was thinking I ain't been to movies in a minute. It was gonna be cheap. At that point, I was buying so many bootleg movies, DVDs. I didn't know how much the movie cost.
Hey, you 7 her 3 says, was it for sex? That's a good question. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to say that on YouTube. Damn it, man.
No.
Was it for recreational pleasure?
I did not. No. I did not do any. I had other people for that. I kind of dug this chick.
Yeah.
That's how it was. Yeah.
Edna pointed out, and Edna, I did get your message. Thank you for sharing. I will make sure that I share with the appropriate parties.
But here's the thing, first of all, I'm not broke no more. These are all old stories.
These are all old stories, but I just still think that if we can share with men out there that if you have 220s, then that is not the time that you need to be asking someone on a date. Like, maybe someone asks you on a date.
I was trying to get her to a crib, and then she was like, well, let's go to the movies.
So you were trying to get her to the crib. Hey, you said her 3 was right.
No, it didn't have to do with sex. I actually liked her. I was going to cook and everything.
Don't say that word. Just use another one. It's recreational.
Yeah, I didn't have it. It wasn't for recreational purposes.
220s is walk in the park money, C-Dub. 220s means that we can get an ice cream. And maybe that's why the girls did not want us to go get to ice cream dates. But as a woman, as a nice woman, if somebody has 220s and that's all they have, I don't even want them to spend. Just keep your change, sir.
What I had.
You said that's all you had.
That's all I know I had. They ain't all she know I had.
Oh man, but that one guy that I went out with said I gotta wait till my next paycheck. I don't get paid next week. I gotta wait till my next paycheck to take you out. And I said, don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sir.
And I really want to say somebody lent me the other 20, but I can't really remember.
I don't like these stories.
I can't really remember.
And the bad part about that is I feel like the person that loaned you that 20 was probably a girl.
No, I would never do that. I would never do that. Wasn't no cash app and nothing. I would never do that. It might have been John. If I did, it might have been John.
I feel like girls have given things to you that other women have benefited from. That's what I feel that I've observed in the last 20 years of friendship, 20 plus years of friendship.
One time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a girl sent a flower to my job, and I was living with me and my son's mother at an apartment. She lived with me. And I knew I couldn't come home, so I just took the thing off, and walked in the crib.
And we're home, ladies and gentlemen.
The funny part was, she was like, somebody probably, because she know I wasn't used to doing no stuff like that. She wasn't used to seeing. She was like, somebody probably sent them to you and you giving them to me, and that is what happened. Just saying.
So as we move into the second part of this show in a minute, and we're trying to figure out why there's such an issue with Black men and Black women, I would like all the men to refer to Mo's stories as why Black women have decided that Black men are so unserious. And then we get to the point of in our latter years in life, our sunset years, and all of a sudden they become extremely serious. But I just want to make sure that we put a pin in that when men are so confused, like, why don't y'all trust us?
Let me tell you something. If
That's
you're
why.
holding on from stuff, because this was in my 20s, you still are holding on for something.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying those people have experienced that. So when women experience things like that,
what did they experience? They don't know what was going on. What did
she knew the baby mom knew that you really were giving her someone else's. She knew you were recycling those flowers.
She threw that in the air. She just happened to be right, but she just threw that in the air. And that's the first time I think I publicly said that. She don't watch this show.
She doesn't watch the show. Okay.
My son do though, I think.
We're sorry. Little Mo, we're sorry.
Yeah, all right. Ain't little, he's 26. He all right.
Well, I'm just saying he's little compared to you.
Right.
Okay, so I do have a dating disaster.
Let's hear it.
Another dating disaster. Now, on my dating disasters, I have to subtract the ones that would not be respectful to my present marriage. So I just want you guys to know I go in, with the right to censor because I don't want to be disrespectful to my marriage today. But this is a dating disaster, and I wonder if anyone in the chat can relate to this. So I was on this is when I was doing online dating, right? And you know how most women have somebody in their past that you guys know is probably not going to work, but you just can't get that person out of your system. And probably when something doesn't work, you probably will go back to them. It's kind of like,
yeah,
it's just like, it's something like y'all got something sticky on each other and you just always end up coming back. That person is always kind of like a threat to a new person because they just know you, as Mo would say, they just got your number and you have their number. So you have this type of like, I don't want to see him. I'm getting, the devil, exactly. Hey, exactly. Perfect explanation in my phone as nickels worth of ish, right? This person that I did, I don't think I was in love with them, but I did love them. And I think they love me as well. And so, and we were yoked. We were yoked, Tamasha. We were yoked. So anyway, this person is in my past, and it was probably like a good 7-8 years at this point, maybe 9.
Okay.
So I'm deciding I'm going to break this. I'm not going back. I have to move forward. So I got on a dating site and I met a gentleman and we decided to go on a first date. Now, coincidentally or ironically, our first date was also at Camp Creek, right? Okay. So we decided to meet on the first date. And also, ironically, we decided to go get ice cream first and then see what would happen. See if we, because it was like the first meet because it was like offline. So we went to get ice cream. There's a Brewster's over there in Camp Creek. And then we decided to go get, everything was cool. Everybody looked like they looked in their pictures and everything. So everything was nice and it was a delightful date. So delightful that we ended up holding hands to the other date. Like, and you know me, Mo, I'm not a touchy-feely person until I know you.
Right.
But you know, it was such a nice date, and I also like a man with a nice hand. So he offered to take my hand, and I accepted. I took it back. We walked over to the Fridays, right?
Mm.
We sit down, and there wasn't any seats, so we sit at the bar. So we're sitting at the bar, laughing, talking. Great first date. My girlfriends text me because whenever I go on a first date, I always tell my girlfriends, they text me to make sure everything is straight, right?
Right.
I text back, I'm having a great time. Everything is good. No need to worry.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Now, as I'm laughing and talking, I'm facing this way. He's facing me this way.
Okay.
All of a sudden, behind me, I hear someone say, "Hey, CJ." Now, I know that voice because it's the yoke. The yoke. It's the, it's the one that I couldn't get over for a long time. And I'm on a first date, and God knows I was trying. And I'm like, my heart just went to the pit of my stomach, and I was like,
did you turn around at any point?
I had to because he didn't leave. He was right there, and I was just like, I didn't want to speak, but he came right in. And he came right in, did not was very I would say maybe disrespectful,
I
but
was to ask that.
he said, "Hey, CJ," and then I said, I was like, and I'm stuttering and stumbling, and I introduced the date to.
Ah,
I didn't have a choice. He would.
ah, damn it, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I was just like, out of every restaurant, why is this happening to me? And why is he speaking? And why is he not moving around? And why is he staying? And the new guy was looking at him. They're both, big guys, because I always, but I was just like, Lord, please, if it's your will, make him leave. Let him leave. So then he was like, good to see you, CJ. And I was just like, mm-hmm. So he turns around and goes back to the end of the bar, but does not move, does not leave the restaurant, which I felt like would have been the right thing for him to do. He did not, and proceeded to text my phone. And the new guy is sitting there, and he's like, we continued on with the date, but it ruined it for me. It ruined it for me. And then he started texting me jokes about the new guy.
That's all bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do you think he was already at the other end of the bar, came in, but got closer once he saw it was you?
I think so, because I will say this. I know he wasn't at the end of the bar when I first got there.
Right.
But
But
he he had to be in there, right?
yeah.
He was in there. And then when he saw us sitting down, he definitely came over. But I'm wondering, like, I had never and that's why there was a yoke.
Now.
What?
I know you were stuttering then. You stuttering now, so
I was stuttering. It was horrible. It was horrible. But that's also why when I said a couple of weeks ago, women like a confident men. Who does that? Who just comes over and inserts himself in your first date?
Yeah, it was borderline sucker stuff. Like I would have did it the other way so you could see me and I'm behind him. And then if I was to mess with you, but to be up on the back of your
He was right there. And I was just like, oh my God. When I turned around, you would have thought the devil was behind me. It was horrible. It was horrible. I really don't think that happens to a lot of people. Besides me, I felt very badly about it. And I just thought that was a story.
Badly about it though.
What?
Why did you feel badly about it?
I felt bad because I know how I would feel if I was on a date with a guy and that was happening with a girl. And then when I just admitted to him, I just said, that was my ex. And he was like, yeah, I figured, I didn't have, I was stuck. I was stuck.
Man.
It was bad. Yeah.
Damn it, man.
Yeah, it was bad. Needless to say, me and the new guy didn't work out. Um, yeah, yeah.
Man,
Anyway, yeah, it took, and I would say, it's when you have to pray and really do some strong um meditation and prayer to get over.
I just thought about something. So I'm at a spot. The woman who I like for a long time, who you're very aware of,
Mm-hmm.
she's at a spot on the east side.
Okay.
I go to the east side with something I probably shouldn't have been out with in the first place. As soon as I come in, I look to the end of the bar. There she was, and I stopped for a second, and I was like, "Oh," I waved, and we're here in the booth, and she's at the bar, and I'm just like, I just feel the eyes on me, and it wouldn't have been bad if I was with something that was more my, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that I know I probably shouldn't have been here with this young lady made it worse that I was seen
Yeah.
by her of all people.
Yeah. No, that somebody asked, did I go back to the ex? Unfortunately, Jadali, I have to be honest, a few more times. A few more times. It took a while to break, but there's always somebody that has your number.
Don't I know it?
It's just always
Keep
somebody.
my number back.
Yes, yes, but I just, and I don't know I don't know how I could have avoided that. I don't know if you need to sweep the place first.
I mean, you scout. What did it say? Scour the. What's that word?
Yeah, I may have to figure out what the heck, to do, because I mean that won't happen to me anymore because I'm married, but yeah, that was bad. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, this is wild. I don't even know, and there was nothing I could do because he just walked up. Like if the situation had been reversed and I had seen him, it would definitely have bothered me. But
Would you have
I would never, huh?
Would you have wanted to go somewhere else and told him, "Hey, I don't feel the vibe here. Let's go." Would you have said that?
I probably would have. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I would have definitely wanted to go someplace else. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would not have done that. I definitely wouldn't have stayed. I wouldn't have approached him. I wouldn't have wanted to make the young lady feel uncomfortable, and it would have bothered me to see. So,
Hey man, it's a small world sometimes, and things happen. Somebody said
it is, especially in Atlanta, GA,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so we got a few people coming in, getting ready to join us, and there was a conversation going on earlier today. Let me check on one of our guests.
Hey, have y'all ever had a situation where you went out with somebody and they introduced you to a spot, and then they turn you on to something? They be like, "Don't take nobody."
I do that all the time. Yes.
And I hear it all the time, and I take people there all the time. I don't care what you say.
Hold on, let me bring our first guest in. Our first guests are a married couple, and I thought it would be great for us to bring in a married couple because
there you go.
Because number one, relationships most people are trying to get in relationships. They're dating for the purpose of marriage. And these are two of Adrian and I, two of our married friends that we hang out with a lot. And they also do podcasting and things like that, talk relationship conversations. So I thought having them come on and join us tonight would be good because they have a perspective. And the questions that we're going to be talking about as far as the state of Black relationships, I think a married couple can relate to. So please help us welcome Patrick and Cherie.
Hey.
Hey guys, welcome,
Hey.
welcome to Dating Diaries.
Right, what's up?
Hey, Christal Scorpio.
Hey, how y'all?
What up?
Hey, what's happening?
Y'all jumping right in it tonight.
We had to because the first thing we do every week, this is Dating Diaries. We talk about dating disasters, dating dilemmas, or dating deal breakers, right? And so we have people call in and ask questions about it. Will tell us either dating disasters or ask us a dating dilemma. So I think we should start by welcoming you guys to Dating Diary by getting you guys to both give us a dating disaster. Mo and I just told our dating disasters right before you guys came on. Both of us had pretty bad dating disasters. Mo basically went on a date with 220s in his pocket, and I went on a first date with this new guy that I had just met, and that one that I couldn't get out of my system just happened to be at the same place and inserted himself into the date. So our dating disasters were pretty bad, but we welcome you all. We will start with you.
All right. Why Patrick want me to go first though? You want to say the best for last? Okay. I've never had a dating disaster. Honestly, I haven't. I've never had a dating disaster. I think you know what though. I'm really.
Three.
Who did I have?
The guy that had to walk across the open the door car door from the other side.
I didn't go on a date with him.
Oh, okay.
I feel like whatever Patrick said, we need to listen to. But before that, we want to bring in our last panelist for tonight. I know the ladies are excited about this one. Yes, ladies, we have all the way from Miami, DC connection. We have Randall himself from Ready to Love. Please give Randall a hand.
Oh, Randall.
Hey, Randall.
How you doing? Right.
We are excited to have you back with us. I don't think you've been on Dating Disasters. You've been on the show that we do every week about Ready to Love. But tonight we're excited to have you, and we welcome Patrick and Cherie, that are a married couple, because we know you attended an event in DC that basically was like trying to help men and women come to an agreement, Black men and Black women, when it comes to relationships. So we wanted to have you come on and give us the perspective that you learned at the conference, and then also have this married couple on to share with us as well. But before we get into any of that, we need to know you guys' dating disasters. This show, Dating Diaries, came from Mo and I talking over the years about our dating issues. We're best friends, and he knows pretty much all my dating disasters. I don't know if he knew that one. And I know a lot of his. I didn't know some of these early ones that he's talked about. But so in order to christen you all to this show, we need everybody to share a dating disaster. And Cherie, please don't start again with that. I've never had one. We need
Let
to hear
me go into the archive. Okay, so I guess it was a disaster, but I laughed it off. So I remember one time, literally probably right before the pandemic that year, I put on Facebook, I feel in my spirit somebody's son want to take me on a date. And so I just posted it, went about my business, right? I came back to my phone about an hour later. I had 100 DMs, literally. These are guys that I actually knew, hung out with, didn't know they had a crush on me or anything. Not only that, I also had men that had just moved here from out of state. So I had a guy, and listen, I had a date for about 30 days because I did accept all the dates. Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I had a guy who happened to be from DC. So we ended up at a restaurant, and the more we got to talking, he just kept clutching, and I was like, "Is he gay?" I was confused, and I was hungry at the same time, so I just kept eating and entertaining the conversation. But by the end of the conversation, honey, he crossed his leg and said, "It's whatever if you want." And I was like, "He is absolutely gay. Yes, he is, and that's fine. But you can't be out here dating whole Black women." And you show up acting like you want me. Yeah, and then we proceeded. After I ate, I ended the date. We proceeded to the car. He asked me if I wanted to go for a ride, just ride around the city and smoke some weed. I'm real confused. I'm real confused.
Is that a date?
You want to be your home girl.
The food was good. It was a nice restaurant, but yeah. Nonetheless, I ended up having to block him, and
So did you take the ride with the?
No. I wasn't getting in the car with him. Again, he was new to Atlanta, and I heard that DC, I heard that, and I know Atlanta, so I'm thinking he probably, all the way home. I'm like, he came to Atlanta to play, and then you want to sit here and you all out here in Johns Creek, Alpharetta. No, sir, find somebody else.
Yikes, that does happen.
I went on a date with a gay guy.
Oh yeah, well, that unfortunately that's not too rare.
I can't hear you, Crystal. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear us. I can't hear y'all.
I can't hear you.
You got to go out and come back in.
Yep.
Go out and come back in. when they come back in, we're gonna get Patrick's story. But Randall, I can't wait to hear yours. I'm ready.
I don't got nothing like that.
No, Randall, you got to give us something.
Oh, you got a few.
You got to give us something.
Disasters. Yes, I think y'all got enough disasters for me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't seen it enough.
No, because when you were dating on the show, all your dates were good, which led to you having all the dates at the end. So you don't have. I know you're extremely, conscious of the young lady's feelings and all that good stuff. But you need to tell us something that happened on a date that you were not expecting. Something that happened that made you think, "Yeah, I'm not going on a second date with this young lady." We need something, Randall.
So I don't have anything crazy, and like mine is the opposite because I did go back on the second date, and like it was crazy. It was this woman from DC. And she's like a doctor, right? And I'm like, she's like, in DC, everybody, you should check all the boxes. She looked good, she smelled good, she dressed good, got long hair. I'm feeling real good about myself. And we go out, and while we're talking, I realize like I'm carrying the conversation, right? She's not really talking too much, so I just think that she don't like me like that, right? So I'm like, all right, I just try to like just check it up to that and like end the date. So I'm getting ready to leave. She's like, why don't you just why don't we go to this bar? Mm-hmm. And I was confused because I could have sworn that she didn't like me, right? And like I love basketball, right? I love basketball. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm tripping, right? Mm-hmm. So we go to the bar. At the time, Miami's playing the Spurs. It's the game where Ray Allen hit the shot. He actually hit the shot at the end of the game. When I tell you, I could not wait for this date to be over. Like, I could not wait to get out of it. I didn't even care about the game anymore because it was the same thing. She didn't say but 2 words for like 2 hours, and I just could not figure it out. So where it get crazy is, where I go wrong is, I start thinking that, like, it's me. Like, I'm tripping, right? I'm doing too much. You got a good girl, right? Like, so what are the odds that I get stuck or in traffic on 495 and I'm right beside her? And I don't know if y'all been in the DMV. Like, that's like how does that happen? It's crazy. It's beyond me. So I go out with her that night. I meet up with her. We go to a football game and we're watching the game. And it was like the worst decision I've ever made. Just only because
you're on the highway.
On the highway.
Right there.
Gridlock traffic right beside me.
Do you roll the window down and be like, hey, how you doing?
Roll the window down and everything. So
I look the opposite way.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You can't forever be like, they are still here.
I wouldn't even look that direction.
Man. So anyways, nothing crazy. It was just the exact same thing. Now I'm stuck at this football game, miserable, live, right beside her.
Did she ask you to the football game or did you ask her?
No, she was already going to the football game, right? Because like one of her friends. So I ended up meeting her there and going to watch the game. And it was bad. It was bad, but nothing crazy. It was just picking the wrong person. Like, there was no conversation at all in the 4 or 5 hours I was with her. It was no convo.
4 or 5 hours.
I mean, if you add up all of the different spaces, about 4 or 5 hours, huh? What'd you say? No. I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
I said, how much did that cost you? Because that'd be the icing on the cake that really make you mad. It's no
money. And it costs. Like, if you haven't been out in DC, it's gonna be expensive, right? Mm-hmm. So like, but at the time I didn't care. Like, I was really like, I thought I had one, right? So I wasn't tripping.
So how much? Okay, Patrick. I'm not Patrick. Randall. Before we go to Patrick's dating disaster, how much do you allot? And I will just say, I will preface this by saying, I am so glad I'm not a man. I did not learn that until after I was divorced. But I'm glad that I'm not a man, because I know that when I've gone on dates with guys, I would be like, oh, I would not want to spend that on recreation.
Right.
Damn, I hate that for them. But, this is where we are. So how much do you spend on an average date? Like, what do you expect to allot? What is your dating allowance?
I mean, I'm being honest with you. Like, the way of the world, you're going to spend about $150, like, at least, like, minimum. Like, as soon as you walk out the house, you already know that's spent. Yep. Like, literally, that's done. So.
And $150 is a cheap date.
Yeah, like, that's the minimum. Like, it's. There's no way to get around it. So like whoever you're going out with, just make sure you like her.
Right. You gotta
So at
make
least
sure.
at least 150, and you go out how many times a month?
Who, me? A month now? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not dating too often right now. Like I'm picking.
expensive.
I'm picking and choosing. Like I was younger then. Like the story that I'm telling you, I was a lot younger. And at the time, I was doing too much because I was going on a couple dates in a week. But like right now, I'm not doing too much of that. Like I've really got to like somebody.
So right now, I'm not doing too much of that.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I'm not.
All right, Patrick, we need your oh baby, my honey bunny has to go back out to work. I did not even know my honey bunny was home. Okay, Patrick, give us now. First of all, Cherie, you can't get mad at Patrick for his dating disaster. Okay,
Girl, I can tell you all of his pretty much most of.
I don't know.
Let's hope he don't hold back, Christal. Let's hope Patrick
Dating
doesn't.
disaster
don't hold
I
back.
had it was a cheating dating disaster. So I tried to take somebody out on a different side of town and ran into the person that I was with.
Oh my God.
I'm sitting there and I'm looking, but she didn't pull up. She just watched. And I just sat there like, dang, I don't even know if I should end it or if we should continue. So we sat there. It was not good. So I couldn't do nothing that I wanted to do to get the person I was out with because the person I was actually with was there. So I just sat back like, and we sat there. I didn't tell her. I heard about it when, like, she let me have my date. I said that
That
she was nice enough to give me my date, but
that was a
when
nice
we left, I didn't leave with the girl I came with. I had to leave with who I was actually with.
So how'd you do
How
that?
you do that?
Because when we got up to leave, she got up to leave. And when we got outside, it was like I just went over there to her, like, let's go. I'm with you.
Wow.
So she wasn't by herself. She was with a friend. So the friend must have drove because she got in the car with me.
Did the girl that you went out with see that exchange?
I don't know how she got home.
What?
Oh,
Wait a minute.
I'll tell you who it
You
was.
left her.
I left her. I couldn't do that. It was either let the action happen, meaning it was gonna jump on her, or I just rather say, listen, I gotta go. I left her there. It may sound bad.
No, not May.
I was young.
It is bad, Patrick.
Yeah,
It don't sound. It is bad. It's bad.
Listen, I left. I don't know. I left.
Well, I
God,
think
they would have had these reality shows when he was in high school. Back in our youngest, this thing here was wild. Okay.
I feel as though you were her dating disaster. It's not your dating disaster.
It was a disaster for me too.
No.
I had to be nice and listen.
How was it a disaster for you? You
Patrick,
still
that's not a dating disaster for you.
It is, y'all. I had a plan. What you mean? That plan was foiled.
You left the woman, and
I feel like Mo want to high five him. For some reason, I feel in my spirit.
Listen, I had to go, man. I had to go.
Mo, have you ever had anything that crazy?
I have not.
Oh, dang. Well, you supposed to be like, yeah, one time.
I have been out with Mo, and there are several girls he's dating all in the same environment. Somehow he manages to navigate the situation.
I didn't.
It's because I'm not lying to anybody.
There you go.
That is the real deal, though. I actually tell men, like, your game is crap. If you sit up here and you got to lie to all these women, just be upfront. What you lying for?
The one that I was trying to get, listen, it wasn't even an ask of, are you with somebody? Just conversation, and we went out.
But why
did you? Okay. And I went to a whole nother side of town, so that's what it was like. What you doing over here?
Oh, that was his disaster, Christal.
Yeah, what you doing over here? I was like,
not even a disaster, because you are the disaster, Patrick.
You gotta keep it real. You are. That was on you.
That was on you, Patrick.
I'll take it. No, I'll take it.
So that's not really a date. I'm gonna let you slide, but
I mean, that's the only thing I can think. That was a disaster all the way around.
You
still got the. It sounded like you was up. You won.
Yes.
Listen, yeah, okay. Thank y'all.
Get the prize on the other side, but
did you and the girl that was there with her friend, y'all made up that night, right?
Yeah, you couldn't stay mad at me.
Okay, Patrick is off.
You're the winner.
Randall,
he won. Yes.
Cherie, we're only talking to you for right now. Patrick's in timeout.
Yes.
Just saying.
That is not a disaster at all.
Not a disaster.
For me.
Randall.
You were such a player back in the day. You just nothing ruined you. No. Wow. Okay. I don't know if he'll let me talk about it, but I know you had it really wasn't a dating disaster. It was more like a creeping disaster.
Another
Oh man.
Tell me. Tell me. I don't mind this book, y'all. Listen, once you open this book up,
Please,
Chris, I don't know if he would.
of the girl.
once you open this book
still
up,
got it.
once you open the book up, I mean, you can read any page you want.
Oh no, that
That's
was a
some
disaster for
That's
you.
some pimp. That sounds like Toledo. Sounds like Detroit. Sounds like pimp player from the Himalayas.
Nah, we ain't gonna talk about that.
Oh, see?
Yeah,
All right.
I do. If she talk, I got a disaster. All right, here we go.
Oh man.
So it was a disaster with me and her.
No, it was a disaster for you. It was a disaster for me, but it was
for us. I had anticipated being with her like forever.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally got my chance to be with her sexually,
I snuck out on my baby daddy. He told me I never wore lingerie. I got some lingerie, snuck out to see Patrick at the Red Roof. That's how far.
It was a long time.
Okay, this is a disaster.
And this is my disaster. This gonna beat that. We get there, everything is nice. She got on the lingerie. I'm thinking like, yeah, it's about time. It's finally about to happen. And it's over.
Half a minute.
All my junk I talked when I was, everybody talking about, I got there.
I mean, the city had him pumped like he was the man. Like everybody was fighting over him.
And
I get to the room. I'm like, what is this? Y'all fighting over?
Hey, brother. It can happen to the best of us, man.
It did. Hey, listen, it did. It happened to the best. I went in there like
patient. Too much anticipation. You were
Yeah.
It was over. It was over before it started.
Over.
Listen, I just tried to carry on. Like, okay, yeah. So is that a disaster?
I left the house for this.
I snuck out for this.
And she let me know too, just like that. She's like, "Are you serious?"
As she should have.
Yeah. That was a disaster.
That was my that's my disaster. I use that.
All right, both Patrick's disasters end with him still getting lucky, but we are going to go ahead and move into Randall.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, Patrick. You still may be in timeout. Randall, the event that you went to, I wanted us all to have this conversation because there's such negative talk on social media about relationships with Black men and Black women. So I saw that you were going to be a panelist in basically an event where we were going to come, Black men and Black women were supposed to come to a standoff and try to find some places of synergy so that we can start to change this narrative. So I want to open the floor up to Randall to share with us what he learned, and then we'll all kind of, chime in on, how that can relate to us where we are now.
I mean, I appreciate you for having me on here too, by the way. So the event was hosted by Carpe Diem. It's the brand new dating app in DC, and they specialize in dating in the Black community in DC, right? So they try to create a bunch of mixers and things like that for people to meet, obviously, right? What I liked about this panel, it was because how it was done. A lot of information that's being put out there now is to divide men and women, right? Everything is focusing on the gender wars, right? This is the opposite. It was trying to create a space where we were able to like try to listen to each other and understand each other and try to figure out how to like work through it. So dating can be like a beautiful thing like it used to be, right? So that was the whole thing. And that's literally how they pushed it to me, which made me want to be there because I don't know about y'all. I'm pretty much tired of the gender wars because we do need each other at the end of the day, right? We're actually made for each other. So that was the beautiful thing. So how they did it was we started off with a panel, right? And then we broke out to breakout rooms. And obviously I sat in on the men's side after we did the panel, and we answered questions about like what was our problems with dating, or like what frustrates us the most with dating and stuff like that. And the same thing was happening on the women's side. And what they did was they had two people from both sides switch and relay the message to each other. Right. So that's where it gets dicey, because, when we get in these groups and amongst our peers or whoever, we're going to say a lot of buzzwords and this and that. And there's a lot of entitlement floating in the air and all of that. What I found out just listening to the women when they came in was a lot of the, disagreements are the same. It's like we're starting to have the same disagreements with each other, but we don't know how to deliver it. You get what I'm saying? So like that was one of the biggest takes that I took from it personally.
I would ask you, Randall, what are some of your issues? Because I mean, obviously, no one is surprised, because we got to know you a little bit on Ready to Love. You came on here and we talked to you a little bit, and I think, hey, babe, I obviously you are an eligible bachelor. A lot of women, you were a favorite on the show. So of course, and I hate to be like stereotypical, but it's like a person that, is obviously attractive and has, is very respectable and able to articulate himself very well and communicates, it seems, to a very, very effectively. What are issues are you having with dating? Because it just befuddles me that you would be having any issue because of what we saw on the show.
Right. I mean, but what part of the dating that we're talking about? Like that's another thing that I learned, because everybody was giving their advice and a lot of it sounded like it was relationship advice and it wasn't the part of the attraction. So I think me per se, I'm really good at the attraction part of things. Right? Like sitting down, I listen well, right? And I know how to like take in the information and like do things with it. Right. So I'm really good at those early stages. Where I think I go wrong is listening to the person when it comes to things that I don't like, right? Like I get into people to a certain point that the red flags don't even matter no more. It's like I see the flag, but I'm gonna ignore it, right? And you keep doing that. When you get to a point where you're like a people pleaser and you want everybody to be happy, everyone in the room is happy but yourself, and that's something that I would typically do, like even with actual friends. You get what I'm saying? Right. And I feel like when it comes to relationships, people put so much into like their work relationships or their friend relationships. And when it comes to their significant other, they don't put that same energy into it when it's all the same, right? Everything is built in relationship. Any strong relationship is built the exact same way with a strong foundation. And if you can't build a friendship with your partner, nothing's going to last. Everything's going to break down.
Yeah.
Do you think that, okay, because the way I'm saying, hearing you speak, like the first phase you're great at, right?
Yeah.
And that, but now when it's time to, like you said, listen to what they were saying as far as the stuff that they might have, not necessarily, or it could be necessarily with you, but just with people in general, men in general,
Right.
And you're seeing the flags.
Right.
At that point, so do you think you're invested enough at that point to want to stay, or is it just that, I mean, you seem like a nice guy, and it's like, I know in my situations, like, I don't want to come off as an a-hole, so I'm like, I stay around. I don't want to be the next bad guy that she meets, right?
Right.
I hang around a little bit longer, not even for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just so I can figure out how to let it down easy, because, like I said, nobody wants to add more to someone's bad plate, right?
Right.
I don't, and I know a lot of other men don't. But it gets looked at as, well, I'm like, I don't know no other way to do it. It's either be mean or, you know what I mean? And I understand the truth hurts, a lot of people. And I think if you're a halfway decent guy, you don't want to come off as the mean guy.
Right.
So at that point, you see those red flags. Do you feel like you're invested enough to stay?
It just depends. See, me, like you get two versions of me. Everybody don't get the same version, right?
Right.
And it's either if, like, okay, I know I don't like her, I'm leaving, I'm out, right? And that could become a trend. Like it could be like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 people. It's like I just don't like them. So now I'm starting to look at myself, because you get to the point where your mental awareness is flowing. It's like it can't just be all them. Right. So that next person, I'm gonna try harder. It's like, okay, let me try to do things different, right? Let me try to go another way. Let me not jump out the window at the slightest little thing, right? It could be me, and trying to find my balance of like doing too much and leaving too fast and jumping ship. I will put myself in something that I don't necessarily need to be in for way too long, right? So I'll become invested. I'll become way more invested than I probably should be,
right?
Just because I want to make it work.
It sounds like it's more about what you're trying to do for yourself.
Yeah.
I had a situation like that where I had been single for a long time, and people always are like, "Why are you single?" So then, when this person came along, and coincidentally, it was the same person that I went on that first date with, where the ex came, And I just say, you know what? I just want to prove that I can be in a relationship. And so what I did is I stayed in that situation, for way too, and I didn't, it wasn't about him. It was about me proving to myself. And that was totally wrong. Totally, totally wrong.
It gotta be
I want to,
about you.
yeah, I want to ask a question of Patrick because I was having a conversation with a colleague and he said something that was very profound to me. And I feel like from what Randall just said, it sounds like that's something that maybe some other men can relate to. He was like, we were taught, we were little, it's like, go get the girl. If the girl's pretty, go get the girl. But when the girl likes you, when you're in it and you're not happy anymore, we were never taught how to break up with a girl, right? So what happens is we end up doing what Patrick was doing and just sliding to the left, sliding to the right, but never just confronting the situation and saying, I'm not happy. I want to move. And it even sounded like what Mo said, like, I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to hurt her. So I'll just stay. But that's also not fair to you. So I want to ask you, Patrick, do you feel like men, and starting with yourself, really understand how to get out of a situation that they're not happy in, especially if it's the early stages of dating?
Well, I feel like for me, it was about me. Like, I'm staying here. I'm gonna stay here. Like, I was the bad guy, but I was a good guy. So nobody left me. They stayed and dealt with it. That just how it was. That's why me and my wife now wasn't together back in the day, because I know those games I couldn't play. Like, I would have had to cut everything off, and just out of respect. And I know she wasn't going to deal with it. So, but it is like how Randall said, it's about you. Like, if you get in a relationship and it's something that you don't like, get out. Don't go down with the ship. Let somebody else come and be the captain of that ship.
No,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's about you. So
So
yeah,
you don't think that Black men struggle with getting out, and if
with
they're
getting
cheating, because a lot of times it seems like men cheat because they are not happy, but they don't know how to get out, or maybe they just I could be wrong. Y'all inform me. Mo, what do you think? Is it that men are, because I don't want to believe that men are just cheating because they're all jackasses, but I'm happy to come to that conclusion if that's what you guys are sharing. But I'm assuming that maybe some of
that
them,
was for me. That was different. Was married. So
don't.
I was married and I stayed in a relationship and I knew it was over before I got married to my wife I'm with now. But I stayed, and that was just because I said I'm gonna get married one time, and I'm gonna fight for what I put myself into.
right.
Yeah.
So I definitely it was over maybe 3 years before it was over. You know what I mean? But I sat in there because I felt like I could fix it. I can do those things that needed to be done. And then when it looked like it was fixed, I relaxed, and it just continued to grow underneath without us seeing it. And then finally, it was just like, this is a full grown tree here. There's no way to hide this. Like, it's over. So, I mean, I don't know if that helps with which answered the question. I mean, I just stayed. I really don't even know my reason for staying. It was more or less I wanted to fix the relationship.
Have you ever had a relationship that you ended in a healthy way? And after you, Mo, and then Randall.
Yes, I believe it was just a mutual agreement that, like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. It was even one of those, we were trying, and then it was like we made out one last time, and we just in the midst of this, it was like it's over. Like, I don't feel nothing for you at all. She said I didn't want to say it, but I don't either, and it was like, okay, and we just left it alone. Like, it was really that it was over. We knew it was over. Yeah.
Oh.
Now, same here. That my last relationship was exactly like that. I mean, to the point where, I mean, we were cool when it happened. Even to the point that she was staying with me and we broke up. She moved into the other room and she was like, "Can I stay here for 6 months? I just started a new job and I need to stack some money." And it was a fast 6 months. The idea of it seemed long as hell, but it went by fast. We was cordial. She still cooked, which I appreciated.
I know you did.
And but it was a mutual thing. It was like, look, you're not happy, I'm not happy. What are we doing? And we just came to an agreement, and I felt so at ease. After that, I felt so. You would think somebody, and I could tell she felt better. You know, because usually when people want to end it, it's ended before that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
2 shifts passing, they're like going through the motions. So that made it easier as well when both parties. The problem
Yeah.
is one wants to stay and the other one doesn't, and that becomes the issue.
Right. Right.
Randall, what
Absolutely.
about you?
Yeah, I feel like just about all my relationships, it was broken up with I don't even want to say cordially, because I can pretty much call most of them. So I would say it was healthy, but I feel like it was healthier for me. Because like I left and it was typically because like I was unhappy and I finally got to a breaking point, and I'll leave before I get to a point where it's like we're going to become disrespectful and you're going to hate me, right? But on the flip side, I feel like, especially after talking to a couple people later down the road, when it doesn't matter anymore, they often think you're going to come back when you're breaking up that way. Like at least in my situation, there's several relationships where they thought that they were like I was going to eventually come back, and that wasn't the case. You know, like I deliver things in a nice way, I speak well, but like pretty much when I finally leave, I'm done. You know, and so I feel like it was healthy for me, and I grew from them situations, but I don't know how healthy it was for the other people.
Sheree, what do you think about that? Do you think that because I guess that's like one of the most difficult parts. That's for me why I didn't, after I didn't want to I didn't want to get married for a long time, because I was just like, the likelihood of, people coming to a disagreement and deciding on the same Monday, you know what, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you either. It's very unlikely to me.
Very.
So it usually, to Randall's point, ends with someone being hurt. And I feel like because I'm such an empath and I'm such a Libra, I would be the one that would probably get hurt. So I'm real good at moving around. Like I could date you for a couple of weeks. I could date you for a few months and be like, I'm out. But when you really give your heart, like I feel like the woman is 9 times out of 10 going to be the one holding hurt. So how do you see that?
I absolutely agree. And this is totally unlikely to hear all 3 men say, like, or even Randall to say all of his relationships end mutually. Mo to say your latest one, and my honey was talking about one way time ago. But when I think about his first marriage, there was infidelity there, and the marriage was already bad. So I'm like, I feel like it almost never ends mutually. Like somebody steps out. Normally the man is going to step out, but I'm not saying women don't, because we got that and we don't get caught.
Right.
So definitely we'll do it, and nobody will never know, right? I think that the woman ends up getting hurt though 9 times out of 10, because the man is out sleeping around because there's no emotional attachment there. Man can just go sleep with you and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Women are starting to be the men nowadays. We're getting to that point where they just sleeping around, but for the most part, we're emotionally connected, and we end up hurt because our heart is still there. Our emotions are still in that relationship, even if a man does come and say, I think we need to end it. It's not going well. All we do is fight, yada, yada, yada. We still end up being the one that's hurt. I feel like, R. Kelly say when a woman's fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it. I feel like that man will keep coming back asking us for forgiveness. But when the man is sick and tired of being sick and tired, like he gonna bounce. He's not gonna sit there and try to work through anything. Like when they're done, and we're expected to always forgive them until Lord knows when they're done. And then we're still left brokenhearted.
I think, and this, my experience could be a little different. I think that, I think men don't leave when it's inconvenient for them. When a woman is fed up, it could be inconvenient as heck, but it's like, I'm done. You've hurt me. You done drug me through the mud. I am leaving. I am leaving broke. I'm about to get in my bag and I'm going to build myself back up. A man will be like, well, she cooks every night. And go ahead. And then they don't leave like comfortable.
That ain't the case.
When they're ready to go, they don't bounce.
Yeah.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I haven't seen that. I've seen men leave when another woman becomes an option, right? Just a man, because I just feel like the girlfriends I know, and even myself, when I left, I had no prospects. Mo knows. I did meet a man on a bus that told me he would take care of me, but I had just
that story one day. Trust me.
but But I didn't know that man before I got on the bus. But I didn't have any backup. Like I had let my back when I was younger. I always had a plan B. There was always a guy that I knew I could go to if this doesn't work. I had traded in my player's card and I left the plan B, and then I didn't have one. So when I got divorced, I didn't have one at all. There was nobody waiting in the wings. I don't feel like men ever do that. Like they always is like
something made you sick and tired. When I moved to Georgia, I was running from domestic violence. I took a 3-year-old. I had never been to Atlanta in my life and moved to Atlanta. When I left my first marriage, I left crazy. I left in the middle of the night. And I came back the next morning with a U-Haul because my daughter was to return back from with her father for a break, holiday break. I needed to make sure. I went to move in with my friend, fixed her room up, had the food in the kitchen so that I continue to cook for her, take her to school. But I left with absolutely nothing because I was fed up, sick and tired, been sick and tired both times. But I was sick and tired of them doing what they wanted to do. Like, men are gonna still do what they want to do. And guess what? When I left, it was like, trying to beg for a little bit. But after that, it was on to whoever they was humping around with or whatever the case may be. So something made you be sick and tired and just leave with absolutely nothing. And it was everything that he kept doing.
Yeah, and I left
sick and tired. If a man doesn't leave, that means he's only sick. He ain't tired yet.
Right.
Anybody gets sick and tired. Trust me, I done left clothes and the TV, and you can have all this. I'll start all over. That's when you sick and tired. You
left your clothes.
Huh?
If you left your clothes,
no, I said I take my clothes in 18. Okay. You can have all this. I'll rebuy all the rest of this stuff later and start all over and build when you're sick and tired.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've definitely done it. Like, okay, for instance, like my last full relationship, I not only did I leave, I left the state. You know what I'm saying? Like I was, because everything was suffering. Like I wasn't happy. My job wasn't performing well at work. Everything, everything. Because I was so attached to her. Like I left, went to chase my dreams. That's how I ended up in Miami.
And that's called sick and tired, right, Mo?
Yeah, that's Beyonce.
Okay, that's Beyonce. Okay.
As my granny would say, when you get enough, you'll quit.
Yeah.
Enough, you will quit. So that's okay. So that's the end of the relationship. How do we figure out, how to change the narrative and how to put things in a better perspective? I feel like I'll just say for myself, and then Mo, and then Patrick and Cherie and Randall. I feel like one of the biggest problems I'm speaking specifically to the Black community, because I think our issues are ours. I don't know about others because I'm not in those communities, but I feel like one of the biggest issues that I encounter with my girlfriends when they're single and talking about, and even myself, because I'm still newly married, is the where we are at our life, right? In our mid 40s, a lot of Black women are in a very different place. And for lack of a better term, it's just finances and status. So I feel like when the women's movement happened and women started entering the workplace, it changed the nature of what a woman, the definition of what womanhood was. Because at one time, all the women could do was stay at home. I mean, a woman could not even have a bank account until the 1970s. That's crazy. So if a woman couldn't have a bank account, a Black woman definitely didn't have a bank account. Like that's so when you see that has changed so much from Black women not being able to get a job besides taking care of someone else's home or children, which was still domestic. Now you have women that are engineers, that are heads of companies, that are doing the same thing during a day that a man does. But we haven't decided, how does that look, right? Because man's job was to earn a living, come home, take off his shoes. The woman comes out, she makes sure he has the big piece of chicken, and then she goes in the bedroom and makes him feel good there, takes care of the kids. So now that's not the case, because women are working as well. And from what I hear, a lot of men don't feel nurtured and don't feel taken care of with the new type of woman. But that also is just where culture is going. So when I hear men say, she doesn't cook for me, she doesn't clean, she doesn't take care of me, it's like, dude, is she a housewife? And 9 times out of 10 in our community, she's not. So and then on the other side, women got in the workplace and they started to excel. They got degrees after degrees after degrees. So I got girlfriends that most of my girlfriends are entrepreneurs, and most of them do very well. So when they're trying to date, some of them have been open to date men that weren't doing as well, but that has presented its own problems. So I think just the disconnect in what we're doing in the workplace, right? Because for women got in and the type of jobs they were able to get changed. For men, it hasn't really been that big of a change with Black men. We know that there are some Black men in leadership and executive positions, but a lot of them are not. So when you have the guy that is, the electrician, and he's dating the president of a company, there's just a weird dynamic that cannot always be fixed. I feel like, I know that sounds horrible to admit, but the whole idea of like alpha females and women that are like type A personalities and all about going and being aggressive in the workplace has not translated well to our homes. So I think that's the biggest issue from my perspective. Mo, what do you think?
I like that, and I think that's true on a certain level.
Okay.
That's more of a top tier, but that's more of an upper level than the general basic level. But I think that's part of it too. I think the women that are in the middle are watching those women, like you were saying, the entrepreneurs, the presidents, the vice presidents of these companies, and saying, well, if she can get that, I shouldn't settle for less, or I should be able to get that too. And she's treating her man, who's at the same level she's at, different based on how that woman she's looking up to does. You see what I'm saying? It's like the young ladies that watch social media and see these women on these reality shows, so on and so forth, and be like, that's the way I want to live. And they start treating men like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think and then trying to date women with that mindset, we can be equal. I might even be slightly above you. I sent you the thing, I think it was earlier this week, where the women was like, well, I want to talk about like women that are broke. Well, and then she said, hold on, let me not say that, because I don't want to call women broke. But that same man in that same position, you'll call him broke. Even if he has more money than you and doesn't want you to spend it or do what you'll still call him broke. But for some reason, you're not broke because of this. You see what I'm saying? So I think we're dealing with this on our own level.
Mm-hmm.
We both make this. I might make a little bit more. You might make a little bit more. But for some reason, I guess, I don't know what that is. And, everybody, social media, I don't really buy into that. It don't really bother me. It's no different than a young person watching TV when we were younger. Some people going to be influenced by TV. Some people are not. Some people, I don't want to say weak people, but easily influenced people are going to be influenced by the internet.
But I think sometimes art imitates life. So I know in the conversation I've had with guys and the conversation I have with my girlfriends, the finances are an issue. That finances, where you live, what degrees you have, what circles you're in, I don't know it not to be. Now, I have a circle that may not be the general population, but I kind of feel like it is.
Those women, yeah.
Randall, what do you think?
I think you're on point by a lot of it. I mean, I'm from DC, right? And Atlanta's kind of the same way, where it's like the Black community is on top, right? Everybody in DC got a degree. Everybody got a degree. Some got masters, some got PhDs. Everybody is doctors, government employees. Everyone is pretty much in a good space. Even if you're not doing that well, you're doing a lot better than the majority of the country, right? I think the biggest issue, though, is social media. And it's not that social media exists. It's the fact that you're taking social media and what you're getting off of it and put it into your homes. Mm-hmm. Like every relationship is different. And the whole point of being in a relationship is to make each other better. You understand what I'm saying? So like, if you're not taking the time to figure out what your partner needs, then you're already going in the wrong direction, right? And most of us, it's a sense of entitlement. So we're going into these situations with standards already. You know, you have to have this, you have to have that. Like in DC, they ask you, what do you do for a living in the first three sentences?
We
You
talked
get
about
what I'm saying? And that's like the easiest
Atlanta
way to
too.
annoy me. I'm gonna say something crazy. Like I'm a manager at McDonald's. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like I don't like that, you know. And it's not like I'm not doing well for myself. It's just like, why is that a thing? You're supposed to be getting to know me, and we can figure out the other stuff down the road. You get what I'm saying? Because no one's perfect. I'm
Yeah.
going to be better than you at something, and vice versa. That's the point of being someone's better half. Another thing that I've learned is when you get into these rooms where everyone is doing well, right? And we experienced this in Houston at your event. Everyone in there were doctors, right? Everyone in there were doctors. And what you realize is the women in that standpoint, because it's not just them, people in general, they tend to date themselves. They look at their accomplishment, they look at their accolades, the things that they're doing, where they went to school, and they try to project it onto their partner. And they'd be like, how am I not a catch? I have this, this, and that. He's like, I don't care about any of this. You know, most men don't even care about how much their other half is making, you know, but if you are, that's a plus. It's a bonus, but it's not what I want from you. You understand what I'm saying? So we just got to get back to the essence of dating and figure out how to make each other happy. And I think it really comes down to the actual dating stage in the very beginning.
like that.
What about you guys, Patrick and Sheree? What do you think the biggest issue is right now with our community when it comes to the disconnect?
Go ahead.
Honestly, I think definitely social media plays a part in it, but I think social media is an inspiration depending on how you're consuming it. I think the biggest issue is respect. Regardless of how much money a person makes, do you have respect for him or her? Regardless of who has the degrees and most education, do you have respect for him or her? Because I've always said, so when Patrick and I got married, I was making 3 times what he was in corporate America. I had rose to the top as Black women are, not to the top, but on my way. But I would always say and remind myself that at any moment I could lose this and I'll be dependent on his income. So, and we never did roles, right? I admire coming home from work, putting my laptop away or whatever, going to cook for my husband, fixing his plate and serving him. That's something that I look forward to. My husband doesn't require that. He doesn't expect it or anything. I had to tell him, like, no, that's something that I love to do because my mom did it for my father. And we cater to my dad to this day, all the men in our family. So regardless how much money I make, how busy I am, I respect my husband, the man that he is, the dreams, the visions that's inside of him. He may not have the money today, even my homeboy. So I think it really just comes down to respecting that individual and understanding that what you have today can be easily taken tomorrow. It can be gone tomorrow. And if you don't humble yourself in that aspect, then you'll be failed. And then you'll be turning around looking for those very people. So at the end of the day, it comes down to respect. As far as women, like you said, Christal, back in the day, you know, our mothers and grandmothers were just homemakers. So as we grew, as every other generation does, there's something new. We looked at it like, I don't want to just do that. Like, I want to do this, that, and other. And we were inspired to do it. And because we grew up in this generation, we were able to see a Black president and Black women in Congress. And we're like, oh, she looks like me. I can do it. So we didn't really want to date ourselves. We just began to believe in ourselves a little bit more than the person who was standing next to us. But when you just be yourself, I think that connecting, that energy will connect, and you'll get that man or woman who would say, like, yes, like, I want you to go be all you can be, like, get behind you. My husband is like, my people think I'm the face of it. Yes, I'm out there, but when I say my husband does everything, I don't lift a bag, I don't carry a box, I don't carry my own clothes, like, I don't do anything but show up and deliver. But that's because my husband makes sure everything else is set. So it comes out to respect.
You know, I want to ask you this because I just have to play devil's advocate just from being single and dating in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you with respect, but I wonder, like, I remember that's why I have a lot of dating disasters. But I remember dating, and you know, there were some guys that were nice, right? And that's why I can't ever say that, you know, that I had a lot of bad experiences. I did have some bad experiences, but for the most part, it just wasn't a good fit. And so, you know, you date someone and they may not be on the same, they may not make the same amount you do. Cause I don't lead with what I do. I think that's disgusting. I don't like that. I don't lead with any of that. Like whatever you do, cause that's not, first of all, you're there by the grace of God, right? So you could be, you know, whatever. But I do have a problem with, like, as I mentioned earlier, when I first left my first situation, right? I had nothing. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I had nothing. I left my 5-bedroom house that my husband was very well off and he had provided a beautiful home, clothes. I had nothing because I was sick and tired. I got on a bus and I came and Mo and John were waiting for me. I had a suitcase with like 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants and a pair of pink Nikes. And that's it. That's it. He knows that. My car was repossessed because I went through a divorce. He was like, "Well, I'm taking the car." I didn't, and all my stuff got taken. So I came back to Atlanta with a pair of Nikes, pink Nikes, 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants and a broken heart. And I was able to hit the ground, stay with friends. My kids were someplace else in a bedroom that I was not even paying. I couldn't even pay rent for. They were like, "Christal, you've looked out for us. We got you. Build yourself up." And I was able to build. So by the time I got to, first I got a little 2-bedroom townhouse. I didn't have a bedroom. I slept in the living room. My kids both had bedrooms. Then I got a bigger actual house. I put my kids in the house. So I remember at one point I was in a house. I think it was 4 or 5 bedroom house. And this is probably, years later because it takes time to build. And I had both cars were paid off in the driveway. And I was still struggling because I'm still a single mom, but I've worked my behind off, right? So I go out with a guy who has been, doesn't have any children he's taken care of. I got 2 at the house, science fair projects, school supplies, all of that. I'm not getting child support. I'm doing all of this. But when I see how hard I've worked and what I've been able to pull myself up from, if you and I are the same age and you have not had any huge issue, right? You've been able to take care of yourself and you haven't been able to do that. It's hard for me to take leadership from you.
He hasn't been able to do what?
He hasn't been able to put himself in a better position financially, right? So I'm just speaking about what we both had the same amount of hours. I've had more handicap because I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have to be home a certain time. I have to, and so I'm talking to a guy who's telling me what I should do with my money. And he's trying to, because guys like to feel like they're leading. And I'm like, dude, what have you been doing with the last 10 years of your life? This is what I've been doing. I've been
dates.
What?
Taking women out on dates.
Maybe you shouldn't, because I definitely was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I'm definitely not. I could not be a guy because you're right. If I had to take, I'm assuming dating a guy would have been like a car note, right? Dating a girl would be like a car note, like $600.
Yeah.
But at the point that you are, this was in my 30s, and I see what I've been able to do. I don't trust your leadership.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't see how that's not fair, because it's like, what have you been doing?
No, it's definitely valid and fair. It's okay. Like, it's okay to have boundaries on who has access to you. I had a guy who wanted to date me, the one he said who had to open and reach over to climb into his car and all of this, and begin to tell me he had all this stuff going on and he was trying to get it together. And I politely told him, I'm not ready. I'm not the one you're ready to date, because I'm not interested in building a man. Now, maybe in my 20s, 30s, I would probably help you or want to help. But at 40, I don't want to help you get it together. Like, you need to have it together 100% when you come here. And that's totally fair. Politely, maybe there's another woman that would do it, but you were in a whole other level. You were in a different season. Like, he couldn't lead you nowhere.
And that's fair. And I really believe that's fair. And I think we, as other men speaking to younger men, we need to start to change the narrative. And it's actually starting. They just don't like what a lot of people just don't like what they're hearing, but that's how you start. Yeah. You know, when you hear these brothers saying, focus on yourself, King, that's what they're trying to tell them. We messed ours up. Mm-hmm. So don't interrupt us while we're trying to talk to these young brothers not to do the same thing. You might not like how it sounds, but that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
When they be like, what's that song Biggie had and a few other people, F this, get money, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they say. It's not a diss to you, but I think you and I had this discussion. I know I said it on here. In my 20s, I would go to a woman's house, or a lot of guys, fully furnished. You go to a dude's house, a futon and a big TV. You know why? Because he's spending his money on impressing women.
And then when the right one comes,
ourselves together, we're so focused on going behind them, and they're looping us. They're lapping us, and we don't get it. And that's what I'm saying. We keep saying the wrong. Before we can get together, I got to get me together.
Oh,
Right.
that's so good.
Right.
So
Before we get together, God forbid a baby come along and all this other stuff. We telling these young people, to me, the wrong, get married while you, no, we got to change. No, don't. Get you together first. Whatever, male or
first. Yes.
Yeah.
I
and
agree.
men should be just as careful. I tell my homeboys, be just as careful as women are. Be selective. Like, guard yourself, your penis, everything in your penis. Like, every woman is not worthy to sit at the table. Every woman is not worthy to go out on a date with you or be seen in your presence or have access to you or even sex. Like, every woman shouldn't go around and be like, oh, I got him. I screwed that Nick. You know, she shouldn't be able to say. She should be like, it's hard to get some from him.
that's our duty. We doing it. It's hard for a young brother to hear that from a woman. You know,
obviously.
It's hard, and we don't really want to, because we don't think you get it, and maybe sometimes you don't, but we got to do it.
Yeah,
That's
you're
our,
right.
our responsibility.
It is the men. You are absolutely
I
right.
feel
wish
like
I
we're doing a little better though. You know,
No,
I feel like men are starting to become picky.
Yep.
Right. They're judging a lot
that.
more, and you know it's a new word for that. You know what I'm saying?
What
They
is
calling
it?
it sassy.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
call it sassy.
They calling it
Sassy?
sassy. So, yeah. Somebody tried me. I said I'm 6'5". I can't be sassy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well,
I wouldn't
unfortunately,
go for that anyway.
they can be. They can be. I think I definitely feel like men are presenting themselves as if they're the prize. And we do see that. And I think everybody should be. But I also think that, you have to put the work in on yourself. And I'm not just talking about finance, I'm talking about everything.
Right.
And I think for so long we've taught men that if they're good looking and they're masculine. I remember I went out with this guy it was very attractive. In fact, he invited me to his photo shoot because he was a model. I was like,
He was full of himself.
okay, that was a date. He wanted me. But he was like he was supposed to go pro, so he didn't go pro, and so he wanted to really bad. So he was like training, but he had nothing. So we went to his house, and to your point, Mo, there was like a washcloth that didn't match, and like a TV and a sofa, and that was it. And I was just like, sir, what are you? He's in the gym trying to be fun. Like, sir, this is that's on him. That's you're doing the wrong things. You're doing the wrong things. And at the end of the day, you want a woman that feels that's quality, and she's going to want a quality man. And nobody wants to come in here and start from beyond
Mismatched towels.
beyond. It's not going to work.
That's
It's
fair.
not going to work. It's not going to work. Hold on. He says, I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. Thank you for that super chat. Me and my sis do 2 side hustles to make extra money, but our brothers don't really want to do that. That's the thing. Like, why do men? I do know. I can't say that there are none, because I do know a lot of men that are hustling, right? But I also know more women that are hustling than men. What is that about?
What is that about?
Usually, what I've seen, usually when you see a guy like that, look, do the research and back. Look and see if there was a man in the house that he saw go to work every day, the hustle. Every day. When that part is missing, and then he has sisters or other people taking care of him, your father, a real man, ain't gonna allow that with his son. He gonna show him that get out there, cut the grass, shovel the snow. You gonna see your father go to work. He's going to set the example. But when he's up out the house and you don't see that on a regular basis, or if it's instilled with you, that work ethic, and some brothers going to naturally get it. They got it in them. But then some of them, man, some of us need that example on a daily basis.
Let me ask you this. So this is the question. Edna said it. Is it the single moms that are spoiling the boys?
I don't know if it's necessarily that. It could be the family. If you're the first boy that come along in 20 years, could be the whole family spoiler.
But you just said a dad.
Or you could just be a lazy man.
Or you could
Period.
just be a lazy man.
Just lazy. I don't want to do nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I mean, there's a number of things that it could be.
There you go.
It could be that it wasn't a man in the house. It could be that it was a man in the house, and yeah, I had to cut grass, I had to shovel snow, but
And
now I'm an adult. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to do none of that. I'm gonna sit in the house, I'm gonna play my game. And
Ooh.
you know, and I can say that because I have a son that's what he does.
Right.
You know, he don't do much. He just got a job and he's 29. You know, he was thinking on basketball. I'm going overseas. I'm gonna make it to the league. And it's like you got to put work in to get to them places. And he wasn't putting the work in, and he was lazy.
Do you think, Patrick? Because I wonder, like, you know, we know that men and women complement each other, right? I feel like God made us for each other, but there does seem to be, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. There does seem to be a disconnect in men being visionaries and women being day to day, knowing how to pull it together day to day. Do you think that? What do you think? Do you think that if more men had a good woman in their life, they would be a little bit more productive? Like, why are women just eclipsing some, you know, in so many cases? It could be because there's more of us. I don't know. But I just know a lot more women that got their stuff together than men do. And I'm wondering, is it more difficult because of what Black men face in, you know, just in society?
That's for me. I believe a man is going to do what he want to do. So if he's with somebody and they're doing something he don't want to do nothing, and you allow him to not do anything, that's what he gonna do. But I'm gonna use myself as an example. There's things I wanted to do, I had plans on doing, I just wasn't moving on them. And my wife let me know, like, you know what I'm saying, like, move on it. Basically, that was just it. I'm just giving y'all the short version of just move on it. Like you telling me you want to do this, you're saying you're going to do this, you're planning to do this, you're researching over here, but you're not putting nothing in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And I see what she's doing, but I will support. I want to make sure you happy, you get your things together. But she like, yeah, it can't just be me. So I'm like, you're right. You know, I do have some plans, but you're further along in your planning than I am. So let's work on yours. And that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? She wasn't settling for that.
I like
it was like, you know,
were you what do you think was causing you not to move? Were you a little bit, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but was it intimidating for you to jump out on your own and try something?
No, it wasn't intimidating. It was just more of, I like to have everything before I do something. So I don't want to partially do it. I want to know everything about it. I want to know who's my competition, and that takes time to do. And it's like I'm just sitting though. You know, to the naked eye, everybody looking, it's like you sitting. Like I have a beard line and it's just sitting. And she told me, well, you need to do something. Matter of fact, I'm gonna help you with this. Here, this is done for you. So now it's like I have no choice. Like, you're right. I ain't gonna keep saying I'm gonna do it. I jumped on it, started moving with it. And that's how we worked it. But it honestly, I was more passionate about helping my wife reach her goal. Like, get her stuff going. And I come back and be like, hey, what's up? What you waiting on with this? And she like, well, I'm working on something right now, but what about this? And then she look at me and say, okay, so what about yours? And I needed that. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Because the time I'm in here messing with you to try to get you to do something, I could be working on my own.
Gotcha.
So that even like maybe you needed her. Maybe you needed her.
Absolutely.
DC, go ahead, Patrick.
No, absolutely, I did. Like, my wife is amazing. And that's all the way around. Like, you know, she's seen the greatness in me. Coming out of my divorce, I really was like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm messed up right now. And she said, okay, well, you take that time right now. And I was like, okay, come up out of that. Because we doing life together. So you can't sit in, you know what I'm saying? You can't sit in that life that you're no longer in. You got to focus on this. And it was like, okay. And now that was hard to do because it was still me thinking like, man, you know, what that was, I know it's over, but it was so much that happened in it.
Yeah.
And it took my wife to be like, hey, come up out of there.
I like that.
What's up? DC says the guys have full-time jobs. It's the extra and they don't have good women behind them. Nowadays, you need more than one income. Well, that's kind of different because I know the guy, if he just doesn't want to work 2 jobs, I don't know. And I also think that sometimes our community, like being rich is not everyone's goal, nor should it be. And I think when you get to that point, you see a lot of people that are financially what most people would consider wealthy, they're not necessarily happy. So I don't think that's the goal. I do think being sufficient and being okay is important, being able to take, live. But I don't think necessarily that if 2 people are married, they both are working 2 or 3 jobs, the marriage is gonna suffer. Like it's not much we can do if both of us are just proving we got the bag. So I want to make sure I'm not suggesting that that's success. Right. But I do think that if one is pulling the ox pulling the cart and the other is sitting back, that's not it either. You know what I mean? Regardless of who that is, if that's the woman or the man.
Mm-hmm.
I think the divide, I mean, we know where the divide started, right? They took the black men out of the home like a long time ago, and the women had to raise the family. So y'all became really, really strong, and I got to get it, right? But everything comes from life experiences, right? So people who don't have that hustle attitude per se, you can have that and come from, like my mom, my dad wasn't in my life. My mother raised me. You get what I'm saying? But I watched her not struggle. Right. So me watch her not struggle. She didn't go to college. She made well over 6 figures. There's no way I can do anything less. Right. So that was one. 2, everything around me. It takes a village to raise kids these days. Right. There's no one thing. Because there were times that my mom could not get to me. When I got to 15, I started feeling myself. I'm bigger than her now. She couldn't tell me nothing. Right. Yeah. So that's when my coaches came into play. The older guys around the neighborhood came into play. The problem is we're getting away from the village. Right, we're getting away from the community. The community is what sharpens iron. You don't get tough by yourself. That's not a mentality, right? You got to have the right people around you to move forward. And I think that's what's hurting us as a race. We're so separated. We go from Black Lives Matter to Black Women Lives Matter. We're the same. We need to move as a unit. So it all stems from the very beginning, and we haven't figured out a way to overcome that. And that's how I feel about it.
I like that. That's good. I like that, Randall. All right, I got another question for the group. So we got a couple of married people in here, and we got a couple of single guys. So this question was raised. I think Lala Anthony was doing a podcast, and she was sharing that she was not going to let her last name go. So I want to play the guy that hosts Kendra G's show sometimes. That's how I got to know him, but I like him a lot. He's a great interviewer and just very cool and has a good perspective. He asked this question, and then we had a sister that answered it, and the Shade Room highlighted this. So this is the first question. This is the question that he posed.
Thing is though, this Kiki, if just answer me. If I wasted your time,
yes,
and you're through with me,
yes,
why do you want to keep my name?
Because
okay, so the question is, if a couple gets married and they get divorced, Randall and Mo are looking to one day, get on that knee and propose, give that girl a ring and their last name. Patrick has given Cherie his last name. Now, something happens, God forbid, and you guys decide to go your separate ways. Do you want your ring and your last name back, or are you okay with her keeping the name? Now, before we get into our conversation, the guys on that interview were saying that they wanted their last name back, and our good sis came in with her perspective. We're going to listen to that, and then we'll get into the discussion.
This is my name. When I married you, I earned this name. I built a brand. I've ordered my my hat with my name on it, and I'm not changing it because I divorced you. And we have a child together. My child still shares their last name, so I'm going to use the last name that I was married to. And if I decide to change it, that's up to me. But nobody's going to dictate to me what I'm giving back after a divorce because I can't get my time back.
Insane. Mo, what you doing? You get married again. What are you doing? And are you okay if she keeps your last name?
She was on TV and on the radio before she even married this man. So she had a name. You should have built that name. Go back to that because you were on MTV. That name. You were on the radio here in Atlanta.
Go get your name.
That name.
What was the name? I forgot it.
You
forgot it too.
That's not the point. You had a name that you made on.
But she branded
So
that
use
name.
your name.
Yeah, but he branded the name that was already branded because he was already in the NBA.
But what was her name though? Does anybody know?
Rodriguez or something. I don't know what.
I just know her as Lala Anthony.
No, that's what it is now.
I know, but that's all I remember. So I mean, to her point,
or maybe it was just Lala. I don't know. But my thing is you piggyback off of something that was already there. Now, if he didn't have a name, you didn't have and it was something, or if you never was in the business and you got in the business afterwards, I might give you that. But you already was.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now.
Patrick, what you say? You want your name back or you good?
She can do what she want with the name. I mean, you know, if she want to go back, she go back. That's inside of this one. My previous marriage, I had to have that. You can't walk around with that name. Like, you don't deserve it. Like, it don't matter about the time you invested with me and none of that. You know what I'm saying? When you split with me, go ahead. My wife I have today, she's a different person. Like, she's always been a different person to me, a different woman to me. So if she wanted to keep the name, I wouldn't even be, you know what I mean? I wouldn't trip about it.
Randall, what you say? When you get down on the knee, you give her your heart, you give her your all. If it doesn't work, do you want your name back?
Nah, she can keep the name at that point. I mean, coming from like real life, like my mom hyphenated her name for me, right? Because we would be around family and I would be the only one whose last name wasn't Dickerson. You understand what I'm saying? So she did that so I could feel comfortable. So I kind of think about it like that. And I can understand, like, if she wants to keep it, then, like, why not? We done built a family already.
Yeah.
Now, they take the name and do some scandal with it. I bet you're going to be ready to drop the name and reinvent yourself then. You might tarnish the name and do something bad with it.
Well, that's
one way to look at it.
That's the chance you took when you married her, though. That is a chance that you took.
Yeah, I ain't tripping about it. I like in this day and age. But
give my daddy name back.
Right on.
So many people.
I think I think it's funny that these women. I guess if you build a brand, I can see why they want to keep it. It was hard for me to give up my name because women have to give up their whole identity and everything, and then you build a brand around it. Like I hate to this day that if you Google me, most of my articles and magazine, all of that is in my first marriage name, and it's like, ugh, like I should have just kept it Turner because, you know, having that name. So this time around, I was like, honey, I don't want to lose my identity again.
It took forever, right? For me, I felt like forever for my name to be there. My last name, it's kind of like, yeah, all right. Now I'm gonna keep Turner because I built the brand with Turner, and it's like, yeah, all right. But I'm really over here like, nah, that ain't really sitting with me.
He understood though.
I understood it, but it didn't sit well.
Does it mean? Let me ask the guys this. This is why I don't understand.
Yes.
Why does it mean so much for the woman to have your last name? What in the heck?
Because when she has my last name, it lets Randall, it lets Mo know, it lets you know, hey, she's with me. She's with me. Yeah, she's with me.
I can let them know that.
The man,
they gonna see it from afar though.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to get you for to speak somewhere, they gonna know, okay, when she come in, you know what I'm saying? That name right there.
So it's a respect thing.
Absolutely.
Like, does anybody know the history behind why the woman has to take the name?
Yeah.
Come on, Randall.
What is it, Randall?
I mean, it was the ownership, right?
Oh, don't say that word these days.
But that's what it is, though.
You trying to make her take my name back off?
But that's
no, I'm saying back in the day.
That's what it is.
Back in the day, that's what it was. It was ownership.
Yeah, that's what marriage was. It was a way of owning women legally.
Yeah, it was showing
women didn't have rights back then, so it was a way of owning women legally. He
belongs here, and because the dad would be like, all right. And you know, think about it. Back in the day, families would, you know, you marry into a certain family. Now that you no longer are a part of your family at all, you are that family. Yeah. Like, you know, you don't belong to your original family. You take on the identity of your husband's family. Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
But yeah, the last name plus a ring.
Okay,
If
y'all
anybody
see,
crossed the
yo,
lines, they
I'm
knew
gonna
that.
have to go back to church.
No, I'm not gonna go
Does
back.
it mean a lot to you, Randall, as a young man, for if you got married for her to have your last name?
Yeah, yeah.
It means
But
a lot.
she got hyphenated. But yeah, for sure, 100%. Because we're family. Like this is the family.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Mo?
Yes. Automatically. Yes. I want to see it. If I got on the knee, I bought this ring, we did this thing. Like, it's like now that we're moving forward, it's like they want to keep everything good tradition for them. But when it's tradition for the man, all of a sudden, he don't want to. I'm like, yo, you can't cherry pick. I guess obviously you can because we doing it. We would have never had this discussion 40 years ago.
It's
Yeah,
true.
no,
We would.
But
no,
we
no.
also could not have a bank account for you. Can we also just
Changed for y'all, but nothing changed for us except bad stuff. We didn't get nothing good moving forward. Nothing.
that's not first of all, sir, that's not true.
That's not
Stop
true.
it.
We didn't get much.
Stop it. Stop
You
it, guys.
got a true helpmate, a woman who
No,
Yeah,
now
no,
can work and
no,
bring
no,
in
and I
money.
don't want to say that a woman that stays at home is not a helpmate, but
what,
I mean, it does help if she's picking up a bill or two. Come on.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
they don't even. I heard they said, what was it? Well, the women didn't work back then, and then it was like, well, the woman, she saved all her money and she could do what she want with her money. Which one is it? You didn't work, or you can save your money and do what
You
you
didn't
want?
have no money to save.
What
Well, you know what? Thank God some of those women were saving. Okay.
news?
Thank God some of them were putting that money under the mattress, because usually I'll just speak about my family. Thank God she did, because grandpa was running through that money and on booze and cheap women. So
Cheap women.
Then she
Hey,
went that Folgers, she went that Folgers can and got that money out.
That's where it was at too. That's exactly where it
Either
was.
she was gonna get it or Sally down the street was gonna
Which
get
one?
it. So
facts. I don't. Hey, that okay. So that brings me to my next question. I watched another, and I don't have a clip for this one, but I watched a conversation, and a young lady was saying, I'm now, I've been with my husband for all this time. We built up this brand. I am not leaving, even if I'm unhappy, because I built all of this, and someone else is going to come in and reap the benefits of what I've done, right? And so I wonder, on each side, do men feel like, I don't think men feel like that. Seems like men are always thinking that there's something better out there for them. The freak train is just waiting on them. Like, woo, you see men leave after 50 years and be like, I'm about to go get me somebody else. Woman to be like, what am I gonna
You
do?
think
The
Judge
dating pool has pee in it. The man is like, I'm out here. I'm in these streets.
I'm in these streets.
you
Judge
think
Mathis.
That part.
40
Like,
years. What?
so do you feel like investment
I'm feeling
time
it.
is an investment in a relationship? Randall.
Yes.
100%. That's a no-brainer. That's the one thing you can't get back.
Cannot
That's
get
it.
back.
That's
Cannot
it.
get back. So what if you have been in a relationship with a woman and you guys have invested 15 years and then things don't go right? Would you be less quick to jump out of the frying pan and into the fire?
So that's what I was saying before. That what my issue used to be. So right now, I mean, we together 15 years. Yeah, man. I'm not gonna just jump ship right away. But when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Like that's like there could be two rights.
Two rights.
What about you guys? And we want to say we're speaking life, and that you guys are always going to be together. So I don't, because I know words are powerful. So we're just asking you guys to comment for other people, not necessarily for yourself. But do you feel like, and Cherie, for us, you go down to the Social Security office. My last name was hyphenated at first, my first marriage, because I did not want to. I grew up in a single parent family, and I felt like my mom gave everything for us. So I didn't want to lose that identity, right? Because I love my mom and brother. It was the three of us against the world. So I hyphenated my name, not to lose that, but also to have, which my ex-husband's father was like, well, I wouldn't marry you with a hyphenated name. And I was like, well, sir, It is the 1990s and he's with it and it's good. So I hyphenated my last name, and I was going to keep my last name hyphenated because like your mom, Randall, my kids had that last name and I didn't want them to ever feel less than, or awkward. But after a while of disrespect, a male friend of mine pulled me to the side and was like, Christal, that man no longer deserves you to have his name. Like, this is, just you need to let it go, because of it will let you know to let it go, because I was still trying to involve him in things he didn't want to be involved in. So it was more like for me having to realize Christal has to move forward. The judge granted me my last name back in my divorce, but I kept it hyphenated for a long time. But then when I decided to take my, to let it go, it was a long process. Once again, reaffirming how serious marriage is, right? Like, marriage is more serious than people take it. Yeah. So I was irritated at the fact that it took me that long to get back. I mean, you got to go to your Social Security card, and they want a lot of proof. It's just a lot that has to go. Your driver's license, a lot, right? And at the point that the decision was being made for me no longer to be married, when that person decided to do what they did, there was little thought of all the inconvenience that would have to happen to that. So I don't know. That's where I just kind of feel like when I, prepare to get married the second time, like, ooh, it's a lot with the changing, and then I don't know that people and I'm not going to say men or women. I think people don't take marriage as seriously as they should, right? So I just wonder, like, if you guys got to that point, would you stay if you were not happy because of all the years you've invested, and because you guys, after you go through stuff, you build family, you build friends, everyone knows you as an entity. Sometimes it's hard to make the decision for you when you have so much invested around you, Right. So how much of that do you think would color your decision? Would you guys, because there's a lot of
I just was about to say something.
I'm sorry, my husband is. I thought you were gonna. I didn't think he was on here.
Hey. To me, happiness outweighs everything. Literally everything.
There you go.
It just does. And we're here for a short while on Earth, right? And happiness means everything to me. And our families, because Patrick's, our history is a lot. One day you guys will learn about it. So our families and friends were so happy when we got married. I mean, like, our wedding was planned before we had a bridal shower. Like, they just jumped in. So we understand that our friendship means more to us, and we got our best friendship down pat. We're still working on the marriage thing. We're still learning each other as husband and wife, but that best friend thing, we got that down pat for 30 plus years. So if, for God forbid, but, words have power. But for me, I would choose happiness. I just would. I don't care about status or other people, because they don't have to live in that house. They don't have to wake up every day with that, and stress is a silent killer. It's the first thing, that we just ignore. So for me, it would be happiness, and, to hell with everybody else.
Yeah, I like that. That's what's up. Mo, what you say?
About which part?
You say you waited all this time. You get down on one knee. You propose, you get in there, 15 years in, you hitting 70, probably past that, right? Are you leaving at 70? Or are you just going to be like, lady, go on, lay down in that other room, leave me alone?
I like happiness. I know what's going to be interesting to see. I want to see the Judge Mathis situation is going to tell everybody what they need to know.
Man, that threw me, Judge Mathis.
You know what I mean?
Divorce after 40 years, who does it?
30, yeah. So
lots of people, unfortunately, a lot of people do that. Now, what makes their situation different? I know a lot of couples that get divorced after their children are grown. Like, we just been waiting on them kids to leave, and it's because we don't want to break them, mess up their family. And I actually respect that, because I know from firsthand how messed up kids are when they go through divorce. It's really, people really should not do that. If I could do it all over again, I probably just wouldn't have got married and wouldn't have had kids. Because you really destroy kids' sense of self with the divorce. But people love to do it. So, we're all doing it. But it's not healthy. And I don't think people take it seriously. You take it serious when you're a kid and you're watching your mom and dad fight and they're like, oh my God, my world's over. When you get to be an adult, it's like, I can do what I want. I ain't got to stay with that person. And you're totally wrong, ma'am and sir, because you really should try to work it out with the person that you're with if you had children with them. But do you think that the older we get, the more likely we are just to settle?
It could be, like she said, it's a short ride. So you figure, hell, I might die from stress and misery if I stay.
For real.
15, 20 years after that and leave and find some happiness with myself and lose weight. Other than that, yes.
Why is there always loose women in your equation, Mo?
They get you over.
I thought about you because there was a lady talking about before I was going to mention the Yandy and Mendices.
I saw that.
There was a clip where Mendices was like, I'm not happy and I can't fake it. Right. And he took off his wedding ring. And so he was like, Yandy is more concerned about the look. And I do think that that's probably a male, female thing. Like, once you decide to make your relationship public, is that an issue when you decide? Because I know for me, I waited a long time to make my relationship public. Like, I literally waited 2 months before we got married because I just was like, oh, if I make it public, what's going to happen?
Did you see the clip I sent you where the guy was like, that's part of the problem. Everybody's hiding their stuff and don't nobody know who with anybody else. And that's why you're getting cheated on.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's in secret relationships. But for me, I'm just like, I didn't want to put something out there that would color my opinion or the way I moved if it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I also don't think boyfriend and girlfriend is really that serious.
Gotta start from somewhere.
Yeah. Randall, what would it take for you to post, especially after you've been on Ready to Love, you've been on all these dating panels, and everybody loves Randall. What would it take? Where would you have to be at in a relationship before you'd be willing to make it public?
To be honest, it has to be really serious, like really, really serious. I've learned not to bring my personal life into like the public so much anymore. You know, because everybody get attacked. Everybody get DM'd. Everybody, like, so it's a two-way street. Everybody don't need to know my business, and I also want to protect my family. Like, I don't even post my mom too much on the internet. So we have to be in a very secure place. And when I say secure, I don't even just mean like we're not gonna break up with each other, but like mentally. Like mentally we're on the same page. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're in the place where nobody can divide us. Like, if we're divided, it's an internal thing. And then I'll be okay with it being in public.
Have you ever been in a situation that was like that?
As far as what, being public?
No, where you guys were mentally on the same. That sounded really deep. That's why I was like, have you ever been in a relationship where you guys were mentally on the same page like that?
I think I wouldn't be single if I was
right
on the same page with somebody like that. I might have thought we were there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't true, but I wish, right?
Yeah. That's what's up. Mo, what about you? What would it take for Scorpio Mo, specifically now that you fly? Let's get fly. It's a lot of fly things happening, and it's you have a huge female audience. What would it take for you to be like, all right, ladies, I'm off the market?
Off the market.
I don't think it'll take much, to be honest with you. I don't care. If I'm into her, I'm into her, and I'm not gonna be hiding it and I'm not. Listen, man. People mess up. I think that's what make it worse when you've been hiding it and then you finally come out and it's like, and then it don't work. Look, if I'm out and it's my lady and we've been together 5-6 months and we just happen to take a photo and it gets out there or we put it out there, I'm not tripping. And then it don't work 6 months after that. Everybody know that's life.
That's life. That's true.
I've been over it. I'm on to I'm not tripping on with these people. It's like when you in high school and you have a girlfriend, then you break up with her, and then you wind up with another girlfriend, and then you pass up. So who cares?
Right.
That's the problem. People, well, I don't want people to. You're so worried about how you look to other people. How do you feel?
Yes.
Yeah. Preach.
Oh, Pastor Mo.
Preach.
I think Mo, you know what, Mo, you're right. You are right. I
Preach.
was 100% wrong to hide my relationship until the marriage. But in my defense, you just never know when you want to let those be the roster 100% go. I'm just being honest. And I'm sure if Gun Boss is watching, he had the same thing. Because y'all know my husband definitely had a roster. Both of us, we are equal Libras. Both of us had a roster that I wasn't messing with anybody, but it was some people that, you know, if something went wrong, I could quickly shift, you know. And once you come out with that you're married, you lose a lot of those perks as a single woman. I just want to let people
Come
know.
on, Christal. Thank you.
I want to be honest about this because my girlfriend and I were talking about this.
Yes.
When you get married, just like y'all talking about all the possessive stuff, I had guys that would come fixed up at my house.
Come
I had
on.
my mechanic left.
That's
Come on, man.
Your mechanic, huh?
oh, you feel me. I feel you.
And Patrick, I wasn't sleeping with the mechanic at all. In fact, he would ask me.
Same thing happened over here. Same thing happened over here. When she started to speak about me, her number of people following, they kind of, you know, they drop, and then the mechanic.
My mechanic, he wanted to leave me, girl. I said, Patrick, go there with me.
Took me over there to the mechanic. I met the mechanic, and the mechanic was salty, man. He ain't like that. He like, hey, what?
I'm telling you, don't women. I don't feel like women should tell unless you know for sure that this is solid, because people are not doing favors.
I did wait though. I waited a while.
I waited until we got engaged in February. I told people in August we got married. At the end of August we got married in October. I had to make sure this was solid. Imagine, and I lost extra job. Like, come on. And these are not guys I'm sleeping with. What I learned is that they like the idea. Every time I go to my mechanic, he'll ask me out. I say no. That's what he gives me a little bit of a break on the price. I smile, we laugh. I come back the next time, he tries it again. It's cool. Now it's over with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready though. I didn't want to. I knew that I still wanted to play. I still wanted to flirt. Like I knew he was finally here, but we weren't engaged. We weren't. And so just for us to be dating and then get in, it was just like, I wasn't ready to give up. I wasn't letting that go.
At that point, we were engaged, and I was not flirting, but I also was not telling people absolutely. Like, I just would be like, oh, okay, that's nice. And I was just being very, you know, I was being very polite. Okay.
Polite.
Perks. Purpose.
I didn't realize
purpose of the perks. Yes.
I did not realize that all these men were in my life, not because they really were there. I thought they really were just.
No. People try to tell y'all so slick. No. You got males in your life and be like, you know, he only doing that. No, he really is my friend. He's just really
my friend.
Then you found out as soon as you make that recognize.
I was being coy and dismissive, C-Dub. That's exactly the words I was being coy and
paying for that mechanic now. He gonna charge you for the parts, labor.
Oh no, we had to, but no, that's what I do. So I would say to ladies out there, in case you have a lot of men that, I mean, just good with the house, somebody would come over and fix something, you fix them a plate, you smile at each other, and they go home. I had a lot of people like that. But when I decided to marry Adrian already had a mechanic. He already fixed stuff in my house. So I didn't really feel. I noticed the loss, but I didn't feel the loss. But that's also why you have to marry a man that got his stuff together. Because what if I chose him and then he can't afford to fix my car? Now I'm in a conundrum. Like, what am I going to do now? I done lost my good mechanic, and you can't get the car fixed. We both need to go back to that mechanic.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You know what's crazy though?
What?
That means all the dudes that you had around you were kind of respectful. Right? Like, once you belong to somebody else, they left you alone because that was no longer their place.
They
Right?
did.
There's a lot of guys out here who don't care. Like that's not my problem, right? So
That's
Yeah,
good.
you figure out what you're gonna tell him.
yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So like you did a good job of having the right people around you, period.
Thank you, Randall. I received that. I also noticed this, Cherie. Let me know if you agree. Even my guy friend, I like that. Randall made it okay that I did not do anything bad. In fact, I had respectful admirers. But I also noticed that my guy friends, so like Mo and Tricky are two of my really close guy friends, right? Tricky won't call my house late at night. Mo won't call the house. Like they all started to like Adrian had such my relationships, even with the guys that I totally was just, they didn't like me at all. They were just friends. They started to, you know, they didn't call after a certain time, or they'll be like, just wanted to, you know, make sure Adrian's okay. It was crazy. And I was like, it was interesting to see the way men automatically respect other men. That was interesting.
They start mentioning Patrick's name first. My girlfriends and my guy friends. They were just like, oh, so Patrick is gonna. I'm like, I'm the friend. Patrick just got here.
Right.
But they would call like, oh, my guy. And I'm like, dude, man, you've been, hey, what are you talking about? You my bro.
Let me tell you something. Mo and Adrian have now become friends, and I'm not even there.
You're not even there.
I don't like it. I am unhappy about it. But all the guys, they really feel like they love. And another thing I would say to his point, Adrian would come around, like some of the other guys I would bring around, they would be like, so something happened between you and him before? You know, they would ask. Adrian never asked that. He automatically came in and just embraced them. And it's created like he's friends with them. Like he'll reach, they be talking, and I'm not even involved. But that's best case scenario because I didn't want to give up my real friends. Yes. Now, those other people that were doing favors for me, you know, blessings to them because they were there for me a long time. But I understood those had to leave. But the real friends that were there immediately became family, and he became friends with them, which is really cool. You know what I mean? But that speaks to him not being insecure.
Yeah.
Right. And those real friends being respectful men themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have issues if you meet a woman? How do you guys see that as single guys, Mo and Randall? Like if you meet a woman and she has male friends in her life, how do you navigate if it's someone that you feel like is appropriate for the relationship, or you feel like, nah, he just trying to get some?
That's a great question. I haven't really ran into that too many times, if any. But I would just say that because there are situations where the guy that's around all the, inviting you, see, he's coming to not that guy, but I've been, like we said on the show, I've been the other guy. So, and I've been introduced as a friend, but these are women I meet, I see in passing. I don't speak to them on a regular, so on and so forth, right? And you can feel the energy.
Right.
Did the guy know that you were the other guy? Did the guy know that you were probably not really just a friend?
He knew I was her type.
You could tell.
And he also know he wasn't.
Yeah. Dang. Okay.
And then some was her type, and then she introduces you to her type, and then we both looking at each other like, "Are you friends like I'm friends?" That, that kind of thing. But I haven't really. I personally haven't. Like just in passing, I might bump into someone at the mall who I was with, or with every now and then, and she'd be like, "Oh, this is my friend. I'm just," and I know when I'm a friend like. Not sure what he's a friend like, but we both got the same title.
What about you, Randall? Do you think that's the issue?
Nah, my last relationship, like me and her best friend, with the same story that you just gave, we were like that. You get what I'm saying? I feel like you can tell like when something's up. Like you can feel the energy, and like I've actually been on the other side of the coin too. You get what I'm saying? And being on the other side of the coin, you don't stay too long. You say your couple words and you keep it moving, and you can pick up on things like that if you're really paying attention, right? Yeah. But other than that, like you can't have friends that are plutonic of the opposite. You just that's a trust issue. That's a trust thing right there.
Yeah.
Christal, do you allow Adrian to have female friends?
Yes. Yes, but I would say this, and I'm just going to be honest, and I don't know if he's still watching or not, but like, just like I know I had a lot of guy friends that really were truly interested in me, but we were just, I had friend zoned them, and it was working for me, so it worked, but they were probably trying to do something else. Adrian was in the military for 20 years, and he has a lot of battle buddies that I know probably. Oh, Jesus God, he's there.
Let me see.
Jesus. Every time I try to talk freely, because I know if he's not going to watch the replay and get to the end. So I be thinking that maybe I could talk. He says all your friends know I carry a gun. Yes, they do.
I'm looking at this comment.
I would say though, I feel like, if this is what I feel, if there's a female friend that is truly platonic, not one that they used to mess around when they was in Iraq or whatever, is truly a platonic friend, then she should want to be friends with both of us. Like, my friends reached out to him and they are cool. Like, all of them they all love Adrian and they all reach out to him outside of me, right? And none of his female friends have done that. So I'm assuming that there weren't really female friends that were into him as a friend. They were more into, him as a guy. So, none of them have shown their face, and I've been completely comfortable in the fact that they're not, because I just think that, and just like the guy friends of mine that was on some BS didn't show up, but his guy friends I'm friends with, but I don't know any of his female friends. So I'm just assuming that most of them, they had something else, that an ulterior motive or a past that won't fit into our future.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into one of them guy friends she had that liked her. And I knew. Like, she said, hey, she spoke to him and everything. And then I told her, I said, yeah, dude.
I'm trying to play cool. He'll reach over like, nah. He wanted you.
She like, nah. No, he didn't. I'm like, yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
I see it all in him. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
he looked at me like, dang. Yeah. And I'm shaking my head while
I missed all of that.
I'm over there like, yeah. Yeah.
Also, that happened to us at a Christmas party one time, and I didn't think he knew, because the guy greeted him, and then afterwards he said a little something under his breath, and Adrian already knew. He was like, and I have no idea how he knew. I have no idea how he knew, but
I don't either.
We won't tell y'all either.
It must be energy, I guess.
We won't tell y'all. We just gonna know the next time too.
Thank you, Adrian. He said we went to Tricky's birthday party. It did. It did.
Sure did.
I had no idea. And again, I'd be like,
Adrian, put in a chat. How did you know? I need for y'all to tell
Adrian,
us.
how did you know? Because he didn't say anything that would have made me think. He just greeted him. I introduced him because I had no idea, but it was uncomfortable for me because I was like, what is this person gonna do? And they were cool when I thought everything was good. And Adrian was like,
you can't hide energy.
He said, no, ma'am.
but we feel like the same thing with y'all. I know we got to wrap this up. We've been on here 2 hours, and thank you so much, Randall, for dropping in, and also Patrick and Cherie. Before we leave, I want everybody to give some accountability on their sexist side of how we can make this better. So as a woman, I would say how we can make the narrative and the reality, because it's not even so much the narrative, it's the reality, because the narrative is coming from people's hurt, right, and pain. So I think we should talk about what we can do what I can do as a Black woman. I cannot do something as a Black man because I'm not a Black man, but as a Black woman, I can myself, number one, start to take more accountability for the fact that I know my words are powerful. And, as sisters, we know that we can run circles around men with our words. And so I can take accountability for and encourage my sisters to take more accountability for the power of our tongue, because I feel like that is the most, even in the Bible, it suggests that it says it doesn't suggest it says it, it's better to be on the top of a roof than in the house with a nagging woman. And so it's important for us as women to be more intentional and mindful about the words that we speak. So I would say that's what I can contribute and suggest for women. Mo, what about you?
I'm talking to the men.
You are.
I would say, because I have a habit of doing it, and I'm sure other brothers do it as well. It's twofold. Number one, just be a little bit more patient with people and give women some grace. I don't do it as much as I probably should be doing. I get rid quick. One and done, one date done, nah. And I gotta let things roll out, especially if I was genuinely interested at first. You know what I mean? I could be a little hard on the sisters. They don't know how hard, but I just can be like, yeah, we know you do. You know, I just be done and ghost people and keep it moving, which I'm trying to change. God's working on it. And then secondly, be a better listener. You know, I want to be a better listener. Just, you know, we all have a story. We all are not in the place that we started in. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can judge people for the place they started and realize if I change and I'm not in the same place, then so can they.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my contribution. I think we should, as men, do that because we hear these stories and these body counts, and we be like, "Yo," I mean, I don't want too high of a body count, but I'm just saying.
Randall, what about you?
He took one of them. So the main thing is the main thing, right? Listen to understand. Like is my biggest thing. Not listen to respond. I feel like men, we have, and I know I used to be a big advocate of this, of like trying to use my logic to understand how she feels, and that just does not work. So listen to understand where she's coming from. It doesn't matter if it's logical or not. Just like hear her out and just try to understand why she feels this way.
I like that.
Like that, because we don't like when y'all try to logic our feelings.
Yeah,
I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
we
I
wired
hate it
that way
too.
though. It's hard. It's harder than you think it is.
No, I'm sure because so many men struggle with it. So I'm sure you guys aren't just faking it, but it is a huge part because women are not. The beautiful thing about women is the fact that they can make you feel soft. They're soft and they can be a soft place. So that soft place doesn't come from logic. So it's like the thing that you love about us is the thing that you also frustrates you. So we have to figure out how to understand it. Patrick and Cherie.
I'll speak for I'm gonna speak for Mary first. Be intentional. You definitely have to do the listening. You have to have the patience. Y'all both are right with that, and you also have to bring something else. Like for me, I bring date, date your wife. Just because you started off dating don't mean the dating have to end.
Right.
Plan together, have check-ins. You have to do those things. Married, single, I would say, know you before you try to know her.
Right.
Know who you are, and then when you move in, get to know her. Be willing to know her. You know what I mean? And be willing to let her know you. Because we sometimes, as men, we hold back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put a face on right here, but for real, that ain't me. Because I need to know who you are first. No, I say know yourself first. Like you know you, it'll be easier once you get in and know her.
I respect that.
Cherie.
So for married women, I would say, let me just speak to alpha females, such as myself, Christal. I don't know if you really go by that. I know they say some people argue with me that, but those strong, powerful women, climbing that leadership, the rise of leadership in women. I would say be intentional for those who are trying to find balance in your marriage and still be this woman of entrepreneur or empower and leadership. Find balance in your marriage. It will never be you're going to be 100% a wife this day and 50% business owner or whatever. Like it's always going to fluctuate. It could be 10, 90, whatever. But be intentional about finding that balance because our husbands need our attention just as much as everybody else that we try to save. And then for women in general that are single looking to get married, I would agree with the men when they say, listen. We do have a hard time listening. We listen to respond. But before we can listen, y'all, we got to first heal. And so take that time to heal within ourselves. Let's forgive ourselves first for what we allowed to happen. And even about the other person or the other people, let's forgive ourselves first so that we can show up and listen.
I like that.
So Gun Boss says, agree to disagree. Obviously, we have been learning. We go to therapy for our marriage because I was like, it's important to try to make sure that you fix your marriage before there are issues. And I don't want to end up divorced again. I think that to me, divorce is failure of a certain type. Now, sometimes failure is necessary. A lot of times failure is necessary. but it's still failure. And I don't want to fail. So I want to be as proactive as I can so that I don't fail. And one of the things that we've been dealing with is like, we are, you know, I am emotional, he is logical. So we have to, on some points, agree to disagree. And if it's not important, I learned that, you know, the first time around, like sometimes as a woman, and I know that I'm an alpha female. Sometimes people make you feel really bad about that, which it bothers me. That's why I wrote the book. And that's why I even have this channel, because people make you feel bad about the fact that you are who you are. I saw, there's this really good Netflix documentary. I mentioned it last week, but I want to mention it again because it's so good. It's called Daughters, and it is a documentary on little girls that have their fathers are in jail. Beautiful documentary. I would suggest everyone watch it. But what it showed in that documentary is that when there is a deficit, it is a girl's nature to become a type A personality. So a lot of these little girls, this one little girl is so smart, and her dad is like, he's in jail and he's telling her, well, you know, I want, you know, you're the smartest person in your class. Make sure you get great, you know, good grades, because I can't wait to see it. And she takes so much pride in, my daddy said I'm smart and I can get this to make him feel good. And you see that all over the house are her certificates. And I related to that little girl because I remember growing up thinking if I get straight A's, then maybe it'll be enough for my dad, because my dad wasn't around. So my personality of always getting straight A's and always being this, got to get this was built on the fact that there was a deficit, right? And so that was the way I dealt with it. And a lot of alpha females that are very controlling, it comes from a place of, I didn't have and I don't want to be there again. This was unsafe, so I have to protect myself. So when it's seen as a negative trait, and so many people feel like it's just a trait that was built because there was, not saying I wouldn't have been smart if my dad wasn't there, or if my mom hadn't have been fighting by herself, but it created a more aggressiveness than you would see in some people that didn't have it, right? Because you got to be what you didn't have for yourself. So I think a lot of times in that, it can be very difficult when you have this personality that was built from constantly having to be that for yourself that you didn't have. And then you have a man come into your life and say, hey, I'm here now. You can put down that armor. It's just like, I've been doing this for 40 years. This is in my DNA. This is who I am. Like, it's hard to do that. But I think that we can. I still think that if you're a very, very intelligent, proactive, career-driven woman, that does not mean that you don't deserve love. It does not mean that you are not feminine, not beautiful, any of those things. And if a man feels like that, you should not be with him. You should continue until you find the man that understands that. But that does not mean that you don't have to do the work on yourself to be more, to let that guard down, to work on letting him in and allowing him to take that leadership role in your life, right? So you have to do the work. There's nothing wrong with you, but you have to do the work, and you have to be with the right partner. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for like women that are like me, because there's no such thing as not needing a man, but there is such thing as not needing a headache. And if he qualifies as that, then leave him where he is and keep believing God to bring you the right man. But I want to thank the panelists today for joining us. Randall, let people know where they can follow you if they don't already know, and how they can keep up with what you got going on.
Again, thanks for having me. And you can keep up with me at King Randall 31 on all platforms.
I just want to say real quick before we move to Patrick and Cherie, Randall, I really appreciate you and the way you carry yourself as a man, as a young single man. I really appreciate it. And I said this to you before, but watching you on the show, and even the way that you have gone out of your way to constantly protect the women that you were involved with, and to carry yourself on a reality show with the most respect and just integrity. I'm just saying, as a sister to you, I'm giving you your flowers. I appreciate that. And I know that when you're ready and the right woman, you're going to make some woman an amazing husband, because you are such a great guy. And the way that I'm not talking about the external, I'm talking about your inside and the way that you project. That is rare. And we are hoping that we know that you will find a woman that will appreciate the amazing man that you are inside, and the 6'5" and all that stuff. She can enjoy that too. But I'm just saying, like, I appreciate seeing that in a young man, and seeing him stay in that place, even though he's in, you know, on television, and it has a lot of attention and attraction. You remain consistent, and I honor you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick and Cherie, let people know how they can follow you guys, keep up with all that you have going on as well.
I am Cherie Turner on all platforms. I think here on YouTube is Cherie Turner Munn, that hyphenated name that we were talking about. And it's Cherie Turner on all platforms, Cherie Turner Munn.
I am on Instagram _Patrick Munn. New to the YouTube, I am Patrick Munn. Stay tuned for the podcast. I am Sir. Podcast is coming real soon. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys will have to join him on.
Yes, we definitely have to stay connected.
Yeah, well, we already connected. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we definitely want to thank you guys for joining us on Dating Diaries. It's an open door. We talk about dating disasters. Now, if you come back, you're going to have to give us another dating disaster or a dating dilemma. You got to give us one whenever you come, but all of you guys are always welcome. And we appreciate you guys taking out of your time. We don't take that for granted. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Christal and Mo. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for having this conversation. It's very much needed.
Yes.
And for your transparency, your honesty, and your advice that you give, and actually listening to what your guests have to say. So thank you so much for what you guys are doing.
Thank you guys. All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. That was a good show.
I like that.
That was good, right?
I like that. And thank y'all for hanging in there too. I really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we had good, you know, we had a good crowd. I'm gonna ask you guys, all that are on here with us, all 129 people, you guys please like that on the way out, because we want to make sure that other people would see this and see all the other people that were watching, that are watching in the replay. Make sure that you like it so that they'll know that the conversation is good, right? That's how they need to know.
Share to someone that needs to hear this.
Share with somebody that needs it. You got that girlfriend that keeps saying that there's only bad men out here. Share this with her.
Yeah.
Share it with her. Share it, share and share alike. So we'll be back on Friday. Now, I gotta tell y'all. So I saw somebody had said earlier, had asked, will we be talking about the situation on Basketball Wives? I'm gonna tell you, because I am doing I have another series, Pop Culture Power, that's gonna come out on tomorrow. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But on Friday, we are gonna get back into Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't know if y'all saw last week's episode, but it is going down. It is going down. The ladies are in St. Thomas or St. Croix, when they're in the Virgin Islands, and Mel and her friend Shanita and Tisha, and so it's getting good. So we're gonna have to really spend some time.
And if you have it, it does come on after. You can watch it that hour right before we get on.
Yes, watch it. That's what I'm going to say. You guys watch it. Watch Family Empire, and then watch the last episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and then we will talk about all of it and get ready on Saturday for the new episode. But yes, Friday, refresh yourselves, because there's a lot we need to talk about. A lot. I can't even wait to hear your commentary, because you know we have. This is getting ready. This season is going to be a good ride. And then I actually interviewed the couple from Christina and Brandon from Love and Marriage Detroit. That will air tomorrow as well. So you guys, please tune in for that. You'll get a notification. If you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification. So make sure you're looking out for that tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, I'll be on with Pop Culture Power to talk about the Basketball Wives and a whole bunch of stuff. Love is Blind. We're just going to get into all of it. So make sure you're watching for the rest of the week.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. I like this one, but this was a good one.
This one felt good. We got to I got a couple of guys that are going to come on next week. But you know, everybody before they get in here, they got to make sure that they give us their dating disaster, because we need to know. We need to know the stories.
Yeah.
And don't you ever go on a date again with 220s in your pocket.
That was years.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I wouldn't dare do that.
And I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to make sure. Well, I won't go on any more first dates because I'm with my honey bunny. But I actually wouldn't. I don't think. But see, I think it was something about that guy that made the other guy feel comfortable walking up and confronting us.
Yeah, that too. Well, the fact that I get whatever he pointed out to you when he was laughing at him or whatever he was doing, when he was saying the Texans or talking about or whatever. That's
yeah. He felt he could try him.
Yeah.
He felt he could try him. All right. Well, this has been good. You guys make sure you like on the way out.
Please.
Like on the way out, make sure you tune in tomorrow night.
And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
Come on, guys. It's good. It's fun here. We love it here. Come on. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're enjoying. We know Mo has his channel. What is your channel? Is it?
It's under my name. It's under Scorpio Mo. Everything's under there. I just dropped a new video. Did you see your cameo?
I did see my cameo. We went to the fashion show.
Friday, Christal was gracious enough to invite me out on it. You know, I'll be going out on the work night now. But I went out and we had a good time.
It was a Sunday, so Sunday doesn't really count as a work night.
Nothing that right. But no, it was great. Go see that. It's up right now. But
we had a good time. Very good time. Good fashions. I haven't even posted my reel yet. It was very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. All of those things. Absolutely. Yes. So check that out on Mo's page. You could be in both places at the same time. You can make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you guys like it on the way out. And I will see you tomorrow night. And we will see you in our pajamas on Friday.
Friday, y'all.
All right. Bye, guys. Love you.
Good night.